La 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 love, exciting and new. All aboard, we're expecting you and love. Life's sweetest reward. There you go. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I had a wackadoo problem just a second ago too. When I tried to start streaming, it said the stream started. What's that? What's going on here? It said the stream had started, and then it never popped up. And then I hit stop, restarted the software, and started again. And it said your stream is over. I don't know. Interesting. Let's see. Okay, I don't know. Something's wackadoo. Something's wackadoo. All right, how you doing, brother? Bam, bam. Hopefully everything else works. Bam, 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 bam. That works. Okay. What's up, Sparkle Queen? Today's message is if the hair in your butthole can thrive, grow a shitty situation without sunlight, so can you. Dun, 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 dun. Good point. Good point, Shiva. Good point. Okay, all right. What are we looking for here on the internet? Let's see what the feed has for us today. Climb, burn. Jeez, what? Honey situation. Ice from trash. What? How? Ace? I don't understand what that is. So crazy. Did you know snowy owls live in Antarctica? No, I did not know that. Snowy owls in the trees in Antarctica? Snowy owls. Let's see. Let's see. Yellow eyes, native to the northern tundra, male usually white. It says the Arctic tundra of North America, Europe, and Asia. Yeah, I don't think they live in Antarctica. Did Trump really compare the two Americas? I did not see it. I didn't see it. What did he say? Hedwig? Don't tell everybody. The owl? It's Hedwig. That's a freaking awesome looking owl. Look at this guy. Look at this. Looks like AI. It looks almost like a meow. Look at that beast. Man. Yeah, Hedwig from Harry Potter, right? Man, beast. Look at them freaking eyeballs looking at you like you're in trouble. Your invitation to Hogwarts has arrived. When I was looking at the live in Antarctica. Let's see. Animals of Antarctica. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, extremophiles. All right, because of water column and seabed, but let's see if we can find a list. Animals. 325. Okay, mainly in the water, and then things with a lot of blubber. Terrestrial vertebrates, limited number. Antarctica has no natural fully terrestrial animals. That's animals that spend time on land. No mammals, reptiles, human and amphibian led to the introduction of some, such as rats, mice, chicken, rabbits, cats, pigs, sheep, cattle, reindeer, and various fish. Beetles have also been introduced. Birds. The wandering albatross. Where's Harry? Did you know a barn owl has a flat? What? Did you know a barn owl has a flat time? Someone yelled at me for that in the face. Has a flat time? HSBC is selling almost all of the Middle East retail businesses. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it seems to make sense. It seems to make sense with like what's. Listen, something. A lot of people are looking at like the bull crap stuff. If it's in the news, it's basically it doesn't really matter for the bulk of the of like how things are done if we're allowed to know it. But if you look at like what's going on with water and why you have so much out migration from the Middle East, there's a reason that not just the governments suck or whatever. There's issues like water supplies and temperature and whatnot. No, no, I'm not a Jew. What up, Robert, brother? My sweet Richard, can't believe there are rats in Africa. Barn owls have a flat face. I can't read. I, that's all right, brother. I'm not Jewish though. I'm a Christian. I broke my nose a lot of time skateboarding as a kid. People think I'm Jewish. Look up a dik dik. Dik dik is a it's like a very little deer. A dwarf antelope. Look at these little. Look at that little freaking guy. Look at that little cutie pies. It's like a rabbit and a deer. Never seen one. Yeah, almost all owls have flat faces. Barn owls are pretty flat too. Yeah. Yeah, almost every zoo you go to, you can get a shirt that has a dick dick joke on it. How are you, Owen? Yeah, it is cute. It is cute. Yeah, barn owl. Yeah, but Robert, the rats and stuff were brought, so they're probably not actually running around. I'm guessing they're not. It says they were introduced. Maybe they're running around. I can't see where they're getting any food from, so they're probably in like research facilities there or whatnot. How much selling them for? What up, day tripper? $67. Water bear. Hold on. What were we looking up just before that? I forgot what a barn owl. Barn owl. There's a meteor shower tonight. I just saw it on the news. Yeah. Oh, man, you know what? I wish I had a little more money. If I had a little more money, later on in the life of this stream, I'm gonna get one of those manual or remotely controllable, like digital controllable telescopes. They've had them since like the '90s, like late '90s, early 2000s. And I want to have it so we could actually switch over and then point to things in the sky. Like if somebody says like a super chat and says, "Let's look at Andromeda," we're like, whatever. But yeah, we can take a look at it. I'll buy a dozen. Ron's out. Yeah, there's a barn owl. Look how old these barn owls look. Hold on, let me see if I can do this better. Look at those little guys. You could definitely tell like the age in their face. I mean, you not definitely. It looks like you can tell. Like, look at these guys. It almost looks like if you took like a pear, like a fruit, and you sliced it a certain way. That's like the seeds and stuff underneath the surface of the fruit, just its head. Arrow! Yeah, these little guys are freaking cutie pies. Cutie pies. All right, meteor shower. Is it the Leonids? Meteor shower. Perseids, yeah, not Leonids. There you go. Did you see that? Yeah, one day ago, Perseid meteor shower under perfect skies tonight. That was 12 hours ago. Okay, peaks tonight. Annual Perseid meteor shower peaks tonight. Okay, water bear. Do you know what the actual scientific name for a water bear is? Or not? I mean, it's called a tardigrade. What up, Trevor? What do you live in a barn? um, tardigrade. These are water bears, also known as tardigrades, also known as water bears. This is what they look like, and then supposedly this is like electron microscopes. Large companies and billionaires buying forest land cells all the different countries, thinking they're the only ones that can maintain equal distribution when things go wrong. Yeah, I mean, and they're the only ones that actually have. They're the only ones that actually have the like. Okay, if things start to go wrong, people that have already established companies and figured out like how to set up structures, even though they're business structures and whatnot, to have like people at different levels, like a pecking order. They're the only ones that have the experience in that. It's not like Jim down the street's going to figure out the best way to they've learned the art of efficiencies and whatnot. So I think people would look to people with the history of having been able to say how can we bring a bunch of stuff together and how to delegate power. But red owls are so cool. Can you search them up? This is a tardigrade. There was that eclipse. Yeah, I missed the eclipse. Yeah, it looks like Jabba the Hutt. Yep, Jabba the Hutt. Yeah, red owl. I gotcha. I gotcha. I gotcha. I gotcha. Red owl. Bam. 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 There you go. Yeah, we're good with the movie reference. I worked in the movie industry for a bunch of years. So like when you work in the industry, everything's a movie reference. You'll have people there that are in their 60s and 70s and will bring up stuff from like Psycho, and we had a fire drill today up in Atlanta. That's where I live. Oh yeah, it's freaking 10 light. Yeah, what they do? They made you run out in the street. I bet you can tell my favorite animal, the owl, Sparkle Queen. The owl is your favorite. Man, that looks hot, man. It's the milkman. I do remember you, milkman. Milkman. I remember Milkman from like a year and a half ago. The great part, we had some time to put our clothes on. Yeah, that's well, unlike an actual fire emergency. So the Gates Foundation ain't so charitable with a hidden motive. Of course not. Listen, the Bill Gates. If I remember my numbers correctly, when he retired, he had $3 billion. I want to say, and then he said he's going to give away all his money and ended up with $100 billion. And he got a divorce and lost half money, or so that half that money got split out too. So he probably ended up with a hell of a lot more than that after the divorce. And so how do you have $3 billion, give away all of your money, and end up with $100 billion? Because you have ulterior motives. He was using that to do research around the world to find a way to make products. Even though if he was saying he's trying to make vaccines or whatever it was, he was finding things that he could raise money for to make products to make profit off of. Great horned owl. The great horned owl. Jack, I challenge him. Search a random animal. We have a reference to a movie. The great horned owl. Check this guy out. Check this guy out. Bam. There's no way how I was going to listen to a podcast about owls that are links to UFOs, other crazy spiritual beings, that once you start talking about it, how it's everywhere. That's right. How it's everywhere. You're in Buckhead. That's up where my brother is. Stone Mountain area. He's crazy, but let's just say I've seen 3 references to owls. Now you've seen. Is this your 3rd or your 4th? Look at that freaking horned owl. Look at this guy. Look at that guy. Man, you're late. I told you to be here at 7 a.m. Torny Frogmouth? The Torny Frogmouth. The 3rd. Does Musk have a foundation like Gates? Not as far as I know. Not. I mean, let's say if he's got a charitable foundation, he gives away a lot of money. That's for sure. But I don't know if he has a foundation. Elon Musk Charitable Foundation. Oh, there's one called the MUSC. Okay. All right. Let's see. The Musk Foundation. The Musk Foundation. All right. The Musk Foundation. In 2001, it holds billions in assets, largely Tesla stock, and focuses on STEM education, pediatric research, renewable energy, and disaster relief. A foundation with minimal footprint, utilizing unpaid board of directors and no full-time investigations and tax filing, highlights large portions of the foundation's payout go towards donor-advised funding entities tied to Musk's own projects and employees' families, drawing questions in compliance with federal minimum payout rules. Minimal payout rule. I didn't even know that was the thing. I need to speak to your manager. Pick a random animal in chat. Says the best movie. Here's the win. You be the judge. The tawny owl. That's not a random animal. The Australian tawny frogmouth. The Australian tawny frogmouth owl. Look at that freaking guy. He looks like he's ready for a nap. How do you feel about Hunter Biden sabotaging his day's presidency in the Democrat Party? How do you feel about Hunter Biden sabotaging his dad's presidency? Yeah, I mean, but I mean, I think it was pretty obvious to anybody that wasn't nuts that the Democrat Party knew that they went so far to the left that they had to reset. So they set up the DSA, like funding and putting in the DSA, and have a bunch of people that are going absolutely nuts to push that out, so that you'll have a bunch of moderate Democrats say, like, cleave the party. That's what's going on. That's why it's being done so publicly, because the Democrats probably wouldn't have won anything if they didn't change it up. They blended. Well, he definitely looks like it definitely looks like he's got some serious camouflage. Wow. A random animal, but I can reference it. Yes, Dad. That's what I figured you said. All right, let's see. Let's just see if Google can do that for us. Random animal. All right, there you go. All right. The Pentucket profile. Like he just got caught stealing eucalyptus. What is that? The bird mimic. I got one of them hiding up my butt. The world's greatest liar. Bird mimicry. The liar bird. Koalas. Chlamydia
Did you
bear.
hear that sound? Was it a hawk? No, wait, it sounds like a kookaburra. And a chainsaw. Now I'm hearing a car alarm? Wait a second, I should have known. It's the animal world's master impersonator, the lyrebird.
Sounds like a chainsaw according to Kevin Big Fart. Wagadoo. The world of birds.
Hi, my name is Aranya Iyer, and you're watching Animal Logic's World of Birds. Today we're talking about the lyrebird, a very talented Australian bird that has been imitating his neighbors for over 10 million years.
Let's take a moment to thank our sponsor for this week's episode, Magellan TV. It's no secret by this point that Magellan...
All right, what was I going to look at right after that? Something popped up. Oh, yeah. The, what's the flightless birds? The flightless birds. The, kiwi. I mean, there's multiple, but... Yeah, look at this guy. It just runs around pecking at people. There you go. There you go. It is alien planet Martian. Where you come from, Australian rosella and other magpie are also magpie bird recognize their own reflection. Yeah, and not only that, they can also use tools, and they have one of the best. I don't know if mimicry is the right term, but their enunciation or their the way that they can say other sounds and mimic other things is much better. Like even like the human voice is much better than like parrots, which most people think of as probably want a cracker. Flightless birds are chicken. The loon. Yep, penguins are flightless. I used to work with penguins at the Maryland Zoo in Baltimore, the African penguins. Yep, crazy smart animal, very smart. Look, there are people in cities that have trained crows to pick up cash whenever cash is spilled, or if somebody leaves cash on a table as a tip. There are birds that will steal it, bring it back, open a drawer. Here, look, I'm just telling you, I'll just show you. Great Niffler from the Fantastic Beasts. Yeah, yes, crows. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. What did I say? Maybe I did say something wrong. People train them to speak very. Yes. It's the. Okay, hold on. Let's see if I can find this. Crows putting money in a drawer. Not rows. Crows. All right. The beautiful Bengal tigers are definitely freaking cool. All right, here you go. Let me see if I can find a video. Yeah, here it is. Okay, hold on.
This crow brings.
All right. Oh.
Brings money from the street in its claws to its human. It's unclear how it acquires the cash. People online speculate that it either finds the money on the street or receives it from people. What do you think?
Yeah, so the that's not the only one. The homing pigeons, they always return, right? Yeah, so you take the homing pigeon from its home environment, and then you can take it to wherever you want to go. And then if you want to send a message back or whatever, when you let it go, it finds its way and goes back home to where it usually spends most of its time. Did you see a people of Phoenix camera caught Phoenix on a camera? No, I did not know that. My uncle had a tamed one crow. They're more intelligent than us. I agree. It's crazy. But so like what I heard is that you set up like a table and you put cash on the table with food on it. And then you put food in a drawer and then you can train the crow that if you like, it takes a while, but they'll eat the food on the table with the money. And then after they eventually figure out that you take the money over, you put it in the drawer, they get more food, and then they eventually learn if they take the money off the drawer, then back and bring it from the table right back to the drawer. Then when they go out and about, if people have left tips on tables and whatnot, it'll grab the tips, it'll fly it back home, put it in the drawer so it gets food. And then now you got people that are just, what am I looking at? Phoenix on camera. Phoenix bird caught on camera. Magnetic geolocation, geo orientation, something like that. Magnetio. Pigeons. Yeah, I was about to say not a phoenix. Phoenix is they don't even exist. Golden pheasants. Okay. Yeah, there's lots of pigeons on camera. What are you asking? There's lots of pigeons on camera. You mean with a camera? I'm getting crows tomorrow, right? Phoenix caught on camera. Yeah, that's what this is. Phoenix caught on camera. Mythical birds caught on camera. Oh, it's all AI. Yeah, you're gonna get me freaking copyright videos of Phoenix caught on camera. Yeah, that's what this was. That's what this is. No, yeah, we ain't getting into that. You're crazy. You're crazy. All right, let's see. Let's see. What do we got? What do we got here? Microwave thermal fuses. Army Apache helicopter crashes. Jeez. Burnsville. Electric shock glove. That's it. Okay. All right. ICE plans to spend $20 million to purchase non-lethal. I just read that. Look, it's right here. It's right here. It's right there. Shocking new tech. I just crossed my eyes when you saw that. You can fit some toasters into some microwaves. There are some very big microwaves. There's also some very big toasters. Yeah, but you can fit a toaster in a microwave. You destroy the microwave and probably destroy the toaster. They just recently discovered proof of a Black Panther. Black Panther, Sydney, Australia. Sydney. Australia, yeah. So think they're overdoing it? I mean, listen. So this is the main thing, I think. It's expensive to use a taser, and I would say, just thinking logically, not stop deporting people, but if we're talking about the actual spending the money for that, if let's just say you're deporting 1 million people, okay, and say 10% of those people absolutely will put up a fight, even if it's 1%. And this is what I think people should do. Yeah, remember Towson? My cousin still lives in Towson, Maryland. Electric shock gloves sound like a good idea to subdue the killers. Try putting an iPhone in a toaster, and a microwave, and a bigger microwave. Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't destroy your stuff. Sydney Black Panther is a Blue Mountain Panther, famous urban legend. For over a century, people reported seeing a wild black cat. It's an urban legend. Yeah, it's gonna go boom. Don't waste your electronics like that. Don't break all your stuff. That's where you grew up? Yeah, so I grew up right outside of Towson. I mean, south of Towson. I grew up in Glen Burnie, right by Severn and Severna Park. Glen Burnie. Yeah, I would, I'm guessing you know where Glen Burnie is, off of 97, Route 100. This guy I followed for years said I got trail cam pics, but they got footprints, proper prints. They got experts on Panthers to confirm. Well, there you go. Trump's plane swap was caught. Did you see that? Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, well, I mean, I guess if you're in Turkey and people want to try to shoot down your plane, I mean, like what I'm surprised taser gloves haven't already been already been a thing. Taser gloves. Not Caesar. Yeah, there you go. Compliant technology. The GLOVE. The glove. The shoe bill. Shoe bill. Shoe bill. Shoe bill. Shoe bill. Oh, yeah, good old shoe bill. Big old wackadoo. Went to Calvert Hall High School, stayed in Pikesville for a while. Spent a lot of time in oh, man, I can't remember the name of it anymore. Oh, man. Just left my mind. Starts with the C. Not Cockeysville. Oh, man. Can't remember. A magic glove with the lights at the end of your fingers. Plot twists. They're tasers, too. Astronomers discovered a black hole star. Black hole star. Wow. Well, listen, we got no idea what they actually are. Like we can't go there and sample, so we can see by what the effects are. But if it's got mass, it's going to have gravity. It's going to bend light, so we can see that. But how do you know if it's a star or actually not a star? Like if it's something big and if it's black, like is that just not a planet? You figure a star would be putting off light. What I mean is shitty Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan signed a defense treaty attacking any of them if you get that threat as enemies. Yeah. It's a small world, brother. Not Cockeysville. Man, what is it? Oh, man, Pikesville, Cockeysville. Man, it's slipping my mind. They don't anything special. Everything is just a visual theory service of all their things. Yes, they got no idea. So what you do is you have sensors, you have data, you collect data, and then you use your imagination to imagine what these things can be. Oh, it looks like you can do that, and then you have a hypothesis, a theory, and then you say, can anybody prove this wrong? No, can't prove it wrong. I mean, if it's something like, hey, there's freaking ducks that fly out of there, and somebody can say, well, there doesn't appear to be any air, so it doesn't seem like it's gonna be any ducks, so that would kind of prove it wrong. But they can't just like this dark energy stuff, dark matter, we don't know, we can't test it. There's theories that light speeds up and light slows down. There's different theories, depends what's freaking school of thought. Yeah, I can't believe I can't remember it. I cannot believe it. Oh, here, what I can do? Let's do this. Towns in Maryland. Start with a C. Crofton, that's another one, but that's not what I was thinking of. Catonsville. Check out Afghan ranks in the happiness index. You'll be surprised. All right, hold on. Yeah, Catonsville. Yeah, a lot of time there. And what starts with a P? What's the one that starts with a P? Pasadena. Okay. Okay, what am I looking up? World Happiness Index. Come on. Okay, let's see. All right, Finland, Iceland, Denmark, Costa Rica, Sweden, Norway, Israel, Luxembourg, Switzerland, New Zealand, Mexico, Ireland, Belgium, Australia, Kosovo, Germany, Slovenia, Austria, United Arab Emirates, Czechia, Saudi Arabia is above the United States, and then Poland, Canada, Taiwan, Belize, Lithuania, United Kingdom, Serbia. That's the top 30. 8675309. Jenny, what I do. Look up black hole versus white hole. Black hole versus white hole. Not white hole. I'm not going to watch a freaking 15-minute video on that right now, Carlson. What's up, Katra? Hit the like button. Help a brother out. Hit the like button. 10 magnitude 7+ earthquake, the ring of fire last year. Scariest place that hasn't happened in San Andreas fault line. Well, yeah, we'll see what happens there. Have you ever seen a white hole of the oak trees? Okay, let's see what a white hole actually is. Black hole pulls everything in and let nothing escape, while white hole pushes everything out. Though the black holes are real, proven objects, where white holes are just an idea in math. This is the type of thing that it confuses truth. Like this is a theory and with no evidence, but the math should work. There's got to be something putting all this stuff here, and there's something that's vacuuming it all up. Bro, I was watching election result primaries around midnight and said it would take another hour because apparently they were wrong flash drive. Yeah, it's freaking so stupid. This is one of those things, Katra, where it seems like, okay, you constantly hear the elections are rigged, the elections are stolen. And then this is Democrat versus Democrat, not Democrat versus Republican. And then the new Democrat seems to be winning, and then all of a sudden 5 of the 9 freaking USB sticks have the wrong data on them. So we're gonna have to go get the right data. Oops, okay, now the new Democrat law, or the it's wackadoodle. Yeah, it's so stupid. And the digital part, it's using touch screens for voting. It's supposed to make this faster and quicker so we can have the results in like a minute after the end of closing. Just see what the freaking number is on the spreadsheet. But no. It is ludicrous. So the thing is, do we have to now agree that Trump or MAGA was correct about voting being rigged? I mean, because they thought, like, did you see the NBC guy? Like, he was like, oh, he was just like staring at his feet for like 3 minutes. Like, oh, how did this happen? And he was like, oh, we had people here all late. We can't wait another 90 minutes just sitting staring at each other. Yeah, what if black holes shove everything into one spot, compacts for millions of years, then explodes? There's another theory that says that happens. Hawking radiation. But Hawking radiation kind of happens as the black hole's absorbing stuff in it, spitting out radiation. But, I mean, the thing is, as stuff collects in and collects in and collects in and collects in, does it get to a point where the black hole supernovas? It could be. Push man out of a plane with a fly parachute, will fly for a minute. Push a man out with no parachute, will fly for life. Get your government to fix who's in your government. Right, yeah. I mean, but not just that. Not just that. I think also the government in general wants to get off social media, like the cattiness that's come into what used to be professional, respectable positions. It's now the more noise you make on the internet. I mean, think about how much money politicians make, like salary. It's not very much relative to like jobs that how you write laws, what you do affects millions of people's lives. $100,000 to $150,000, $120,000 to $150,000 a year, I think is the average. 120, 180. And now if you talk about president, you make like 400,000 or whatever it is a year. But on the internet, they're making way more than that, just off of like X and freaking and Instagram by posting. You're freaking AOC, you're dumb. AOC's like, well, oh, here's a picture of me. They're making more money off of the internet, off of social media. So no one knows if these arguments are just set up for them to make a lot of money, just clickbaity type stuff. So the thing is, you think the news would just show you the actual data. This is what went to the courtroom. This is what came out. This is the result of it. Not, oh my goodness, this person did this, and then they got caught with their ex-girlfriend's best friend's lover's boyfriend. Poor New York City screwed the Wisconsin election because they were up an hour. Yeah. It's wackadoo. San Andreas fault. It's gonna got me pooping my pants. Scared for the big one. 1989 Loma Prieta, somewhere in the south, I think. 1992. Do you know about the telepathy tapes? Yes, yeah. The podcast, let me say, but yes, I'm going with standard of care health now, but hope to do better. Yeah, listen, the best thing I've ever done for my health is go back to what I was told to do as a child. Take your vitamins and minerals. Like if you're not sure that if you're not sure that you got 100% of the vitamins each day that you're supposed to get, 100% of the minerals you're supposed to get each day, that should be the number one thing that you do. Like the number one thing, because the doctors typically do not say, did you get 100% of your vitamin A yesterday? How about every day for the previous parts of your lives? Did you get, like that doesn't happen. I think they assume, like the doctors assume we're doing that for ourselves. And then something breaks. And then we need some medication rather than, I'm not a fan of either candidate. I like Hong for multiple reasons, but mainly she's the only one against AI data centers. I like Hong for multiple reasons, but mainly she's the one against data centers. But her campaign was just, what do you mean her campaign was just, she wanted to cancel freaking Thanksgiving. She wants to just get rid of the police, just get rid of prisons. And that's listen, this is the problem I have, Katra. It seems like a lot of these politicians are faking it till they make it. They just say some stuff on the internet that gets them traction, and then they repeat it over and over again till it comes time to vote for them. But when they actually go in front of the news and they get asked questions, they're like, I don't want to talk hypotheticals. Like, what happens if somebody gets raped? I don't want to talk hypotheticals. No, it happens all the time. So how are you not going to have police or prisons to put these people? Well, we're going to do drug rehabs and we're going to do mental health. Okay, but that's if people want mental health care. What about if they hurt people? Like if you don't know freaking Katra down the street is crazy, and then Mark hurts Katra because you didn't know Mark was crazy, but you know he's crazy after he victimized somebody. And then you give him help and they just let him go out on the street again? No, they don't have any answers for any of that. They think that just because they have internet popularity, that they can run a country, and it's not the way it is. It's not the way it is, and they got too much hate in their heart. Number one, so they're hateful for like the DSA. Hong seems to not like the Democrats or the Republicans. Well, most of the people in America are Democrats or Republicans. So when you just gonna like not help them out while you're I disagree. Your governor, who's your governor? I think Stacey Abrams is your governor. No, Stacey Abrams is not the governor. It's Brian Kemp or something like that. But it was cool to have a voting map and see Milwaukee, which is one of the most segregated cities in America, still is just that way. And the black neighborhoods voted for black candidates. Yeah. I mean that's right. I mean, and the thing is, it wasn't like Hong was trying to campaign for the black candidates either. Like black people in especially in inner cities and in city areas, they have specific needs that need to be addressed, and none of those were addressed. She said that she didn't like her son because her son's too close to being white. That's crazy. Did she think that's going to make black people like her? Like, okay, you don't even like your own kid because you're I think it's going crazy. What's yellow and can't swim? A bus full of children. It's whack-a-doodle-doo. What up, Robert? It was just fun to see a correlation between places and people who voted for it. Yeah. And when you see how that breaks down, how it's mostly college kids that vote for these new, because this is what they're teaching in a lot of the colleges. So it makes sense. Oh, I'm educated. I'm paying all this money for this schooling, and they're telling us that this is the best way to have a government. And here's a person running for government that says this. So it makes sense when you're a kid. You know, it makes sense when you're a college student, but then, but when you finally get out and start paying, not you, college kids, when they start paying for things, you realize, oh, taxes suck. And they're like, well, we'll give everybody free healthcare, but we got to raise everybody's taxes. Okay, but everything the government does, they seem to destroy. So why do I want to trust the government with my healthcare? Even if it's free, it'll suck. We need competition. Competition is super, super, super important. And the problem with the DSA is they want to eliminate competition. Once they win, they don't want there to be two parties. They want there to be one party. And then there's nobody competing to say, hey, you screwed up last term, so we're not voting for you. And that's a big problem. Vitamins are so damn good for you. You feel so much better. Yes, right. So, and the thing is, if you feel better when you take specific vitamins or minerals, that's your body telling you you're deficient in those vitamins or minerals. So then at least you know, hey, okay, let's make sure we're taking what we're supposed to take. Because most people don't take any. What up, Barbara? I only get sick for one day when I do because I take vitamins, drink enough water. Yeah, that's very, very important for you. It's very important. It's one of the most important things. I think it's the most important thing. There's three sets of things you do for your body, depending if you're religious or not or whatever. You meditate / pray, you eat / drink, and you exercise. That's it. That's what you do for your actual body. And if you're not doing those things properly, it's just like not changing the oil in your car. It's gonna fail eventually, and then you're gonna need a car doctor, a mechanic, to sell you products to make your car better because you're wearing it down too fast because you're not maintaining it. That's the thing. Like, girl, right. Hi, Barbara. And she's not the media trained. No, she's definitely not media trained. It's they're faking it till they make it. I'm telling you, it's people that just got traction for saying stuff like inflammatory stuff on the internet that got the attention of like influencers that pushed them into the zeitgeist, into the social realm, that thought that that should be a good idea. But the thing is, she didn't even delete all those crazy posts from her past like 3 years ago. I hear Stacey Abrams and Kamala Harris is running. Good luck with that. Thank you, Barbara. She did not say she wanted to get rid of all the police funding, but police was she was associated with it. No, she definitely did. I watched videos of her saying it today. And then she said, well, the governor can't defund the police, so you don't have anything to worry about, do you? She said that, what I just said out of my mouth. I just watched it before we went live. Yes, she absolutely said that, and she absolutely said I watched interviews with her, and she said we need to defund the police, and with that money, we need to open up more drug rehabs and not insane asylums, mental health facilities, is what she said. And then when she got so much kickback on that, she said, "Well, the governor can't defund the police, so you don't have nothing to worry about." But if she had that power, she would. It's crazy. I promise you she did. I'm from Georgia. I'm streaming from Georgia. I didn't vote because I don't like either of them for different reasons. That's a good enough reason to not vote for either one of them. Yeah, I can understand that, absolutely. Hi, Barbara. What's the difference between a light bulb and a pregnant lady? You can't unscrew a light bulb. Rock out. I really don't support DSA. They live so strong on their lives so strong with some. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to support them when they don't have protection in mind. Like you have to understand that crazy people exist, and people need to be, and there's vulnerable people that exist, and the vulnerable people need to be protected from the crazy people. And the thing is, if you don't have a police force, what's the plan? And they don't have a plan. Where's the regular people's party? All right. As Tiffany is bought out by investors will screw us over. A lot more moderate Republican voters don't like him either, right? The more talking heads clutch their pearls over Hassad Pike, the more I'd fly a decoy. The more I'd fly in a decoy plane for him. Also, I heard that she just wanted her name out there and didn't expect to gain traction. Listen, she was expected to win by over 20 points in almost every main poll. So if either the election was stolen from her or the pollsters do not know what they're doing anymore. We got to raise taxes to pay for the taxes. Packing for a week long trip. Got to do today. Girl, right. With all of the unrest. I think what they're thinking is if they get elected, people will just be happy that it's not a Republican or a Democrat. The violence will just stop. I just don't see it. Put Hunter Biden on the side of the bus. Oh yeah, he'll be running, guarantee it, for 2028. Hong. These gaming boys are nasty. You can't imagine being politics nasty as they are. She meant D-Louse. I do what drug he has mental health facilities. Right. Why can't we have them too? We used to. We defunded them because the drug the medical establishment thought that they could come up with antidepressants. This was in the 90s. We did have mental health facilities and whatnot. And the plan was, depression is causing all this, but now we've got SSRIs. So everybody won't be depressed and they won't be committing crimes. And it didn't work. People got some sect of people, it makes them homicidal and some suicidal. And some it works out for, but still, it didn't work. Why do you think we don't have insane asylums anymore? Yeah, we used to have stuff like that. If we have watermelon, why don't we have fire melon, air melon, and earth melon? The elemelons. If it's a drug problem, help with them with that. Also hold accountable if they did something. Right. And that's the police that would do that. The problem is the carrot on the stick stuff. It's saying, hey, we'll give you free healthcare if you give us control of the rest of your life and all of the spending, because we got to figure out what you guys are. It just doesn't. It's not a good way to go. And when they're questioned, they don't have good ways forward. The path to get to that result isn't there. It's not there. I tried to find it. I can't find anybody that's got a good path forward. And the people that are willing to go on even adversarial news channels, they don't have good answers. Like the dude that asked a DSA doctor about rape. She said, yes, no police and no prisons. And he says, well, if my daughter gets raped, who goes out there and where does he go if there's no police? Who goes out there to catch him? And where does he go if there's no police and no prisons? And she said, I don't want to speak on hypotheticals. That's not a hypothetical. It's happening all the time. It drives me so crazy. Yeah, the polls are definitely stupid. I was watching Associated DSA, and I'm like, Wisconsin, she might have a chance, but not against the Tiffany. What's up, Chirag, brother? Long time no see. How you been? We used to have nursing homes, assisted living facility too, but they became too expensive. Right? Yeah. The more the government got involved in healthcare, and whether you want to hear it or not, 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, when we had, that the government got more in bed with healthcare, and that's when everything really went to crap. It's a lot with our food too, because after that, pharmaceutical companies were not allowed to advertise on television and in newspapers and magazines and stuff, and on the internet. But now after that, they were. So now people are saying, I think I have that. Then they go to the doctor and they say, I want this pill that I saw on this YouTube video or this channel. And then if the doctor says, I don't think you need it, they're like, I do. I'm going to go find another doctor. And it really started making this wackabout. By protecting the weak are not police weakening the bloodline. What? Hold on. By protecting the weak are not police weakening the bloodline survival of the fittest. I can't figure out what's going on here. By protecting the weak are not police weakening the bloodline, survival for the fittest, survival of the fittest. I think I'm reading it right. What percentage of mental illness is due to vitamin? This is my main point. Because look at this. Vitamin deficiency and psychiatric issues. Certain vitamin deficiencies can cause, mimic, or worsen psychiatric symptoms like depression, anxiety, fatigue, and cognitive changes. Deficiencies affect brain energy, nerve health, chemical signals. Identifying and treating low nutrient can support overall mental health care. So that should be the number one thing. And then if that can correct the amount of people that need health care, wouldn't that be the number one thing to do to make it cheaper? To not have so many customers or clients need to be? How do we go from animals to bugs? I don't know. It happens sometimes, brother. Yes, deficiencies. The path forward will never work. We'll just keep raising prices higher and higher. Right? Yeah, I understand. We need more competition in America because the competition will drive prices down. I agree. But exactly. But they think the way that they're thinking about it is once we rebuild the government, it's like starting from scratch. The day that the new government goes into play, all the crime statistics reset to zero because that was the old white supremacist system. Now it's not. So everybody's going to be fine. And that's the way they appear to be thinking. Like all the crime will stop. People are committing crime because Biden's president or Trump's president or whatever. No, it's not the way it works. And they don't have a plan. They just think that once they have the power and access to the purse, that they'll be able to figure it out. Most celebrities will say they don't want to speak on hypotheticals. They shouldn't. Africans are gigachads. We have full deregulation right now. What are you talking about? I'm not talking about deregulation. I'm talking about competition. letting there be more companies to come up to say, especially like access in, like I was saying, to find out how many psychiatric issues are from something as simple as a vitamin or mineral deficiency. We don't know because they don't study it. They don't arrest people that have been arrested for psychiatric issues and test their blood and say, oh, you've been deficient in all this stuff. Especially if it's the poor and they can't get good food or supplementation to make that. Then if you're poor, and especially if you're poor and you're eating like crap, you're not going to get the vitamins and minerals you need. So your body and brain can't do what it's supposed to do. Yeah, I think this would be the first way forward. So far, so good, brother. If they could find one, I don't even think they'd release it. It would, the prisons and stuff would go broke. Why else do you think vegans are mentally ill? I mean, B12 deficiencies of vegans is a well-known thing. It kills a lot of vegans. Malnutrition, the lack of food, has a lot to do. Yeah, a lot to do with it. So, like if we could reincorporate into food stamps, SNAP, to make sure that the SNAP beneficiaries are at least getting the 100% of their daily vitamins and minerals that at least the government says they're supposed to get. Like we have RDA, recommended daily amounts. Like so if you can't get food and you need food assistance, then the number one thing you should do is make sure that they're getting the vitamins and minerals they need first. And then it seems so easy. They just don't want it to be. Sally, it's too late for me. If I had one wish, if you had one wish, what would it be? Choose wisely. I wish people would stop dying. I wish we could freaking. I could snap my fingers and stop all the reasons for the wars. Because I understand if you stop the wars, they'll just start back up again. You got to stop the reasons for them. But what would that be? It all depends. But I wish people would stop dying. I wish that we could use the intelligence and the money that we have in this wealthy planet of ours to do better. And you have to understand that evils exist and we have to protect the vulnerable from the evil. Making any changes on a systemic level will be a catch-22. You need to get power to tear down power, right? But you have to have a plan when you tear it down. So you get power, and if you destroy, to say, okay, the police system, everybody's fired. We have to understand that crime families exist, the cartels exist, mobs exist, gangs exist. They don't follow the laws. They don't care what your constitution says. So they're still going to do what they were doing. And a lot of them are connected to governments that are not American. So they're not following those rules anyway. So how are you going to protect the people in America from the outside governments and cartels that have influence in crime in America? The government deregulated, and now the very rich and wealthy people do not want to create competition because it's too expensive for them. I don't know. I'm not wealthy. All politicians will promise everything and never deliver on probably like 90% of their promises. Yeah, people think fat welfare bombs eat, but they have to see their shopping buggies. It's not, carbs. Yeah, I think 70% of mental illness is caused by social. Most mental illnesses in your head. Wait, war. What is it good for? Absolutely. You can pick one superpower. What do you choose? Choose carefully. Superpower. One superpower. I would choose. I don't know. Well, when I was younger, I wanted to be invisible. Can't even freaking remember that, right? Invincible. One superpower, X-ray vision, super speed. No, flying would be cool. Yeah, I'll go with flying. Yeah, flying. Nah, because then I'll probably fly into something and kill myself. That'd be bad. Let's see, not that. Let's see. I'll think about it. I would choose to manipulate the void itself. That way I can control everything, everything, like a watcher. If I could choose superpower, I would make myself president. but that'd be such short-lived. You need you know. So like if you're president for 4 years or president for like eternal ruler, supreme leader. Wait, you want to be the president in the future? Is that the ultimate power? Now, I would if I could choose a superhero, it would definitely be Superman. Definitely, because then I get flight and freaking laser beam vision. Lord Alcatraz, hey, you hear about the Halo music producer Marty O'Donnell banned from SAC anime conventions based on his political views and Trump endorsing him? That's the way I gotta do stuff. You gotta be kidding me. Listen, this is so dumb. And I tell you why. If you're an entertainer, if you make art, you want the broadest audience as possible. And if you're so short-sighted to see that there's more conservatives in America than Democrats or liberals, like just look at the map. Just look at the map of conservatives versus like you have a whole bunch of tight knit like in the cities, but everywhere else in America. So why would you want? And I'm going to tell you what's probably going to happen. They're going to create, some conservatives going to create a side-by-side SAC anime type thing. I'm guessing, I don't know if it's SAC or SAG, but and they're going to create their own convention that anybody's allowed to, and it's going to end up doing much better, and this one's going to go out of control. It doesn't... I choose hyperinflation. If I could choose another superpower, I'll get rid of Marvel Comics, all this immature gaming's on the internet. Why? Say in the deep voice, my wish to feed. No, I ain't gonna say that. Can't even be in the same room as guys who disagree with. Yes, listen, that's super sensitive. That's super immaturity. Because you've already got something, anime, that you can cross the border with. You can cross the bridge with. You can meet at the middle with. But you choose politics, which you don't even know. Like, you don't even know which part of politics are actually real and what's just wackadoo off of media. Say it in a really deep voice. If a genocidal flood is good enough for God, then why do you cry about ripping down society? Are you kidding? I'm guessing you're not kidding. Are you kidding? Did you even read why there was a flood? Okay. Oh, wait, not politically correct. You mean not superhuman? You mean superhuman, not Superman. Sorry, super person. Hyperinflate money because it's worthless. What do you think would happen to fight with Primes? Jimi Hendrix versus Rob Zombie. I mean, I can still see Rob Zombie. I'd go see Jimi Hendrix. Oh, who would think would win in a fight? Rob Zombie would probably win in a fight. Your parents are kidnapped. Do you save your father or your mother? Yeah, you're crazy too. You're crazy. I freaking jump in through the window with 2 freaking pistols, a 9 and a 45, and I say, both of you, let's go. All right, let's see. A place called. Let's see. Change the game plan. IFF has 2 mommies. Save your mom. This bird is watching you.
Crows are fascinating animals, and the more you learn about them, the more you're going to be blown away by the things that they can do. So today I'm going to tell you 5 things you may not have known about crows. But first, let's start off with some numbers. There are about 50 different species of crows worldwide, and they live on every continent except Antarctica and South America. And they're very adaptable, so they can live in a wide variety of different habitats. And even though they can be quite common in certain areas, they're actually some of the smartest animals on the planet. So let's start off with our fact number 1. Crows can recognize faces. And there are actually stories of people going out and building relationships with their neighborhood crows. Sometimes they'll leave little gifts for them, and the crows will actually bring things back, like shiny objects.
Like
and it's
diamonds
fascinating to
and
kind of dive
gold.
into research and
I
Reddit
can't
threads
keep up
about
with
this
the
topic
topics.
and see how people are kind of interacting with the crows in their
I want
area.
to trade a group of
So they may
crows
have a
to
negative
other-
reaction if you're
Brother, we talked about that earlier. Hey, your eyes change color depending upon the angle of lighting in their darkest green. Mine change color depending on the angle of lighting. Are they? Mine are dark brown. Mine are dark brown. It's like, yeah, it's probably you see the light shining off of it. Let me see. Let's see if I can do this. Hold on. Let's see if I can do this. I don't know if you could see. I mean, if I turn this off, you probably can't see nothing. Yeah, well, you can't really see anything, but yeah. Yeah, I have like when I was younger, like it was hard to see the difference between my pupil and my iris. But yeah, it's this light shining off, reflecting out of my wackadoo. Oops. God chose a flood because the world was totally corrupt, just like today. So do you think the entire world's corrupt like today? Or do you think that most people are good people, but we spend a lot of time on a very corrupt place and in very corrupt areas? I think most people are good and having good lives and supporting their families and working with their communities and whatnot. You have a bunch of people. Remember, most people aren't on the internet too. So you only get people that feel like they have something to say. So you get a lot of people. A lot of people are too embarrassed to put their face on the internet at all. So it's only the people that even have that inner ability to scream about what they don't like or what they do like that will even be on the internet. You know, so it's a lot of people like the keyboard warrior thing's absolutely a thing. Yours changes daily. I see. I was seeing today about how there's some Israel settlements taking over some Philippine islands. They're slowly taking over. My mom has wackadoo eyes. Hers go like green to like light brown to like hazel. I think she calls them hazel. But they change. They have changed. I remember. No, you guys can't see
your
this.
neighborhood crows, or a positive reaction if you're befriending your neighborhood crows. And it seems like they can actually pass this information to other crows, which goes to our number 2 here, is that crows can hold generational grudges. So if you're mean to a crow, they can pass that down to their offspring. And you could have generations of crows that react positively or negatively to
Right. Everyone's a sinner, right? So why did Jesus die on the cross? Why did he die on the cross? You're almost there, brother. To atone for our sins, for our evil. Right. The story starts in Genesis. And then if you follow through the books, I mean, I think most people should start with Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and then go back and go through. But anyway, 80% are good people, 18% are lousy to semi-lousy, 2% are dejected, lived in a bunch of different countries, states, even rich and poor. I've lived rich and I've lived poor. These eyes have seen a lot of love, but I never want to see another woman lie with you.
to you. Now, there was a study that was done where a researcher captured crows wearing a mask, so that had a very specific look to it. And he caught these crows, banded them, and released them. And for about 17 years, the crows in that area would scold the person wearing that mask. So anytime they saw that person, they would have a negative reaction to that. So it seems about 17 years was when that started to taper off. And that
people are paying for these studies. Hey, listen, I need you to go with this mask on and release these crows over here. And then for the next 17 years, I need you to show up here. Oh, it's freaking so crazy.
Study. I was looking around. It seems like 25 years was another number I saw thrown out. Probably hard to gauge, a completely accurate amount of time that crows will hold generational grudges for. But it's fascinating that they can have reactions to individual faces, tell their
So generational. That means that the parents pass the grudge against the masked guy onto their young. So what's the lifespan of a crow? Lifespan of a crow. Not wingspan. Life. 7 to 8 years. So it's approximately, they said 18 to 25. So approximately 3 generations. Do you think of dolphins or birds do you think if dolphins or birds had opposable thumbs, they'd have built civilizations? Absolutely. Enigma, Return to Innocence. Great song. Art of Noise, close by. Enigma, definitely. Definitely. Great song. Man, I ain't thought about that in years. I hate government funding to study the crows. Yeah, here's $1 billion. Go put the $6 mask on. Did you know about the average house flight only lives with, hold on. Did you know the average house flight? What? Did you know the average house flight only lives for up to an hour? What's a house fly? What the house flight? Enigma versus Jim Crow. Stinky farter. Can you search up the masked? The gold masked owl. Gold masked owl. These eyes have seen a lot of love. Racism. There we go. Stinky bar. Sorry.
About it, and then have an entire community either think positively or negatively about a certain individual. So next time you're thinking about being mean to a crow, think about what that might mean for you for the next 17 years of your life. Number 3. Crows can use tools, and sometimes they can actually create. Sorry about my rant. So in the bird world, it's a pretty.
You're good, brother. You're good. Yeah, it happens.
It's a big deal if a bird can actually use a tool to help them in their process of getting food or just surviving. So certain types of crows have been documented bending wires into hooks, dropping nuts onto the road and waiting for cars to run them over so they're able to access the meat inside, or putting food at crosswalks and then getting it later after the traffic runs over the food source. And there were some experiments done where they showed crows different situations and then gave them different options for tools. And oftentimes they were actually able to pick the tool that they would need to get that food source and have the reaction that they wanted. So this is some pretty serious problem solving in the animal world. Number 4, crows hold funerals. Sort of. Sometimes when a crow dies, you'll see a bunch of crows gathered around it. And this has kind of been talked about as crow funerals.
Did you know what a group of crows is called? The murder crows. Parrots are clever. But crows by far, parrots are pretty clever. Absolutely, especially given time. Crows seem to have it from the rip, from birth. What's the difference between a crow and a raven? They're both not magpies. They're both not marsupials. They're both crows and ravens. Not blues. I spelled crows wrong. They are corvids. We have a snow parrot in New Zealand. It will tear your car apart. Yeah, corvids. Yeah. Corvid the day. Snow parrot. Snow parrot. Snow parrot, the Kia, the world's only alpine bird native to the snowy mountains of New Zealand South Island, refers to thick-billed parrot. It looks so nice, and it'll rip your freaking car apart. Oops. Look at that freaking mischievous eye on this thing. Look at this. Look at that eye. Look at that. It's like, as soon as you get out of that car, I'm ripping the freaking bumper off that thing. So Carson, I had a cat. I had a dog growing up, and I've had 2 cats since then. A bear cat. Never even heard of a bear cat. Bear cat? Bear. Oh, maybe no. I'm thinking of a tiger cat. Bear cat. Everybody is a sinner. So who are we to judge? but we do judge. Right. So judging is done differently. So judging is that there's different levels to judging. Like whether someone can go to heaven or hell is the ultimate judging. But judging people, like the Bible even talks about how to set up, or like government set up and following like the judge. So there's what would be the laws of the land, which is talked about also in scripture. And then you have the laws of Yahweh, which is like, what not to do to people, how to act, how to do business and whatnot. And then the laws of the land, which can interpret those for the times, but you're also not supposed to break the law, and you can be judged and you can be punished due to the laws of the land, which are while you're here, basically. All right, what was I saying? Bearcat. No way. Look at that freaking thing. Ravens are quite bigger than crows, more robust, and their beak is more squarish, well, more conical. Carson prefers cats. And unkindness of ravens, business of ferrets, obscenity of buffaloes, shrewdness of apes, paradox of zebras. It's a murder of crows, which isn't on this list. Paradox of zebras, a tower of giraffes, a prickle of porcupines, and a bouquet of pheasants. Bearcats are real. Yeah, there's a bearcat right here. No, it doesn't say. It says bearcat. Bearcat facts. It's got like look at the paws. It's got like bear paws, but like a cat-ish face, mongoosey cat face, cat ears, like almost like red pandas are just about the most adorable things. Yeah, they are definitely adorable. Red pandas. What you talking about? Who's a cutie? Who's a cutie? Who's the cutie? I'm the cutie. Yeah, that's freaking adorable. It's amazing. It's amazing how it's amazing. It's amazing. All right, let's say. Okay, let's go back here. Oh yeah, Tasmanian devils. Tasmanian devil. Bears are more closely related to dogs than tigers, lions, cheetahs, etc. House cats. Oh yeah, it'd rip your face off. These things. Look at this freaking thing. Look at that. Yeah, you don't want to get into a scuffle with them. There's a reason freaking cartoons had Tasmanian devils. They however, they do not spin in circles. And bears are more closely related to dogs than they are house cats. Raccoons are very smart. Yep. And they've got the freaking bandit. What do you call those things? Eye mask. Raccoon. That's a coon cat. Hold on, raccoon. Devils are stronger than pit bulls. Hold on, Red. Okay, hold on, raccoon. Please let me into your trash can. I saw a badger beat the hell out of a black bear in Arkansas. Jeez. All right, what am I looking up here? Red wolf. Cute. Yeah. Honey badgers. Honey badger. Yeah, these things. Look at it look at this whack-a-do. It's so crazy how it's so like half skunk-like. You know what? I wonder if it's so birds flying overhead, like looking down, like look how the color on its head and its back almost match the color of the sand. So like how some aircraft are painted blue on the bottom so that if it's flying in the sky, it can kind of blend in with the sky color. But if there's a plane above it on the top, it can be grays or earth tones. Forgot the name of the most reclusive cat. It looks so primitive. Reclusive cats. Reclusive cat. Reclusive cat. Okay. Let me see if we can get an actual number or a word here and get that kicked in. Poliscat. It's going into stuff about Palace. Wow, look at that freaking thing. What? Look at this. Look at that. If I looked like that, I'd be reclusive too. Look at that photo, man. Jeez. I mean, but then you get a better picture and a little cutie pie. Very studious looking cat. Wow, that's pretty cool. I've never heard of it before.
Funerals, but it's not as much a funeral as it is an autopsy. So they're smart enough that they'll gather around and try to see if they can figure out the cause of death so that they can prevent more deaths in the crow world. So they're there trying to gather information, calling, and it does seem like it's, somewhat of a funeral, although it seems like it's more that they're just trying to gather information. So it's kind of comparable to a community safety meeting. And I've heard that there are some other things that can go on at these gatherings that, probably aren't suitable for a YouTube video, but if you want to research them on your own, there's even more to learn about these crow funerals or crow autopsies. And number 5.
They hate to mate.
Crows are as smart as children. So we've talked a lot about crow intelligence, and there's been studies showing that they're about as smart as a 5 to 7-year-old human child. So they can actually plan multiple steps ahead, understand cause and effect, and solve puzzles. So in some experiments, they were even able to demonstrate self-control, choosing a better reward instead of taking an immediate one, which is something that a lot of animals struggle with.
Right. A lot of humans struggle with that too. Right. It's usually a sign of immaturity. Magpies. Magpies are also corvids. And we thought they were dumb, right? Yeah, elephants too, right? Yeah. Magpies, like other corvids, are thought to be the reasons like weird noises are heard at night in forests and whatnot, because they could mimic lots of things, not just the human voice, but car horns and stuff like that too, and any other sound within that frequency range that they can reproduce. If you grew barbs on your wiener that didn't let you pull out when mating, you might get mad too. I was going to mention that. I was going to mention the barbed wiener thing. Like there ain't no what's that saying? There isn't any. Man, what's the term? There's no consent in the animal kingdom. I think turkeys have death rituals as well. What was I looking up other than that? Oh, it was magpie. Yeah, another corvid. Australian magpie. Black-billed magpie. Would you like to help support my future game by joining my Discord in our chat? I already joined your Discord. My future game. Are you working on it, Elliot? DJ VR, are you working on it? Get yourself some content together, brother. I heard someone in the woods, and you better get on it, dude. Did you hear about February 1st? It's going to be 8,000 hours. Okay, basically all animals have an intellectual guidance system. It's kind of set up. Turkeys invented a game. Turkeys were invented as a game animal. Invented? No. That's how you're doing it backwards, Elliot. You're doing it backwards. You need content to bring people to. Not you need people to make content for. Yeah, you're doing it backwards. It's the drive to want to build a community that's why you would do something, not just say, hey, I want a community first, then I'll start doing something for it. Animals deserve way more credit there. I used to work at the Maryland Zoo in Baltimore, and they're given a lot of freaking credit. There's just most people now, because we don't teach things like that. It's in like public school. We don't teach the brilliance and the beauty of the animal kingdom like that. They'd rather talk about it's instead of like what they're supposed to teach us. They'd rather talk about stupid stuff. How much would someone have to pay you to say that you want to eat? I wouldn't say it. Why did it change to 8,000 hours? I think because a lot of people are using AI so quickly and grabbing a big chunk of YouTube's watch time. And that's what it appears to. I just re-signed the contract today, actually just before I went live, for the February 1st stuff. It looks like from what it looks like, I think they're trying to do a main change. Like they said, it's over 1 billion hours a day is spent on YouTube Shorts, and they want to make it less profitable for slop. So if people know that they won't get people to watch 10-minute videos of just slop, then if they only do shorts, they'll never get to the numbers that they need to start making a profit from it. I was watching one of those documentaries and learning our prehistoric terror birds. Prehistoric terror birds.
Intelligence is similar to primates, dolphins, elephants, a lot of these animals that we consider extremely smart. Crows are right up there on that level, and they're even as smart as your 5 to 7-year-old child. So those are 5 things you may not have known about crows. They're incredibly...
All right, the Haas eagle. So instead, I'll watch 4 to 5 hours slop instead. So I'll watch it. Yeah, I mean, yeah. But I mean, the point of, I don't think YouTube cares about people watching slop. I think that they would rather people, they want advertisers to keep giving them money, right? So if you attract 6-year-olds to watch Tung Sahur that can't spend any money, then they're not going to see any, the ads don't matter. So I think that they're probably looking at their statistics, their demographics, and they see that older people are moving away from the platform. Because there's other things, there's Kick and freaking Twitch and whatnot. So Rumble. And so they're seeing a bunch of younger people come to the platform that won't spend any money, can't spend any money. So if they move the financial reward for making slop, if they remove the financial reward, then less slop will be made, and then more stuff that can be seen. Because remember, you can only watch so many videos a day. There's a decent chance killer whales are smarter than humans, but limited by their anatomical design. I agree. We watched a video about that the other day too, about the hunting patterns and our hunting hunting proclivities of orcas, killer whales, like how they go up, like they crest out of the water a little bit, and they look over at the thing they want to eat, and then they talk to other whales, and they like it's freaking wackadoo. The YouTube Shorts have been slop since the get. Yeah. Well, and I think seeing how TikTok doesn't pay anymore. Like I've seen people that made $3 per million views on TikTok, and people that used to make $10, $20, $30, $50,000 a month are getting like $5 a month now. So like something's happening, something's shifting in the culture. What up, Drong? Hope you're doing well. Just checked in. Will stay for long. All for busy at the research center. Welcome, my brother. Thanks for stopping in. What up, Lamb? The ads don't matter when you have homeless people and senior citizens who don't have enough money to live because they lost their jobs. Yeah, I mean, what's the plan? I mean, do you think you should just be able to post AI slop and get paid for it? I mean, if you think that's the plan, then figure out a way to do it that can pay. Add more ads. So they're also adding, part of the contract today was they're doing YouTube Premium Lite, and they're giving 60% to the creators rather than 30%, which is the current thing for YouTube Premium. So however many hours a month people watch you that have YouTube Lite, which is $8 a month, I think, rather than 20, you'll get a chunk of that. You'll like, so that'll all be put into a pool and then distributed among how many hours is done. And they're talking about like lots of money. So it's supposed to be like a pay increase. Information overload. Gonna go for a walk. All right, Drog, brother. Actually, all this animals smarter, adapting to our environments. We kill ours. Yeah. I don't know if they're smarter, but they can be just about as big of assholes. Yeah, I agree. Whales wear the nuclear vessels. Weathers. Can animals drop bombs? Have you ever heard of whale fall? Does a bear shit in the woods? The documentary said terror birds shared the earth with the first humans on the planet. Terror birds. All right, Haas Eagle. Terror birds. Oh, it's a Star Trek quote, I say. Huge carnivorous terror birds. Commonly known an extinct family of large flightless carnivorous birds, apex predators, South America during the Cenozoic era, existing from 43 million to 1.5 million years ago. These creatures range from 3 to 10 feet tall. Massive hooked beaks strike prey like an axe. If the internet is not going to pay for quality content, then all they're going to get is like, well, right. Then the algorithm won't push it. The algorithm knows if it's slop or not. It within 30 seconds of me, not probably less than that, upload the video, it's already scrubbed it and got all the words that I spoke, and it knows what the basis of the video is. It knows what topic it is, like just from scrubbing it. So if it's slop, it won't push it. You know, like if you get like 3 or 4 views on a video, that's it. Yeah, I mean. But yeah, but they want to. So the people that are getting 20, 30, 40 million views in 90 days on TikTok and aren't making any money will be able to come to YouTube Shorts with that same quality and be able to make a hell of a lot more money off of YouTube Shorts. So I think this is a grab. This is a play to grab TikTok only creators that are now not getting paid very well, and they're gonna. That's what I think's happening. So if YouTube can get a bunch of these TikTok only customers, clients, viewers to come over to follow their favorite creators from TikTok over to YouTube, and YouTube will pay them, then that's what's going to happen. There'll always be people just uploading like, there's a video of birds swooping and picking up a toddler. I saw a bunch of them. I saw one where a bird flew down, grabbed the toddler, and then the dog. Then I saw a bunch of AI versions of it too. Earth was a terrifying place 300 million years ago. Not that long ago. So, Steven, I've heard of bats being used strapping bombs to bats. Reference Project X-Men, American military drop over. Yeah. So they also put what's called incendiary devices on them. So because there a lot of houses in Japan were made of bamboo, wood, and paper. Like instead of having clear windows, they had like paper walls and whatnot. So that would cause huge fires. The short-faced cave bear, sloth, most megafauna, went away 12,000 years ago. It's all in the papers. TikTok was pushing people to go to WhatsApp and range of further content. So many new YouTube creators. So go anywhere at 50 miles from go anywhere that's 50 miles from everywhere. Earth is still terrifying. Yeah, I was actually thinking about that today. I was heading out to drop off some stuff to the Goodwill, And I was thinking that most people think about their city from how they can see it from the street, from the businesses that line the roads and whatnot. But if you go up, if you go vertical and then look around and see how much empty space there are and other freaking like hidden towns like manufacturing and stuff, well, I mean not industrial parks and stuff like that, and then nothingness. There's a lot of nothing. People don't really have that. Golden eagles pick up mountain goat, fly them high and drop them to the air. Hashtag fast food. The only new YouTube creators are the ones who lost their counts recently or starting over. Woolly mammoths were outdoor times appearance. Yeah, well, I mean, they tell you what to do. If you go to your YouTube studio, it'll tell you what topics the people that are following you like to follow. I just don't follow any of that because we just do open topic. But they tell you what to do. They tell you what the people that are actually subscribed to you want to see and what they like to watch. So if your idea is to make money, it gives you the playbook, you know? So I mean, if people want to make money on YouTube and just want to make content but don't have an idea in mind, it gives you those ideas. You might need to bleach your hair. I see lots of creators doing it. I ain't bleaching my damn hair. Yeah, I'm not. I'm good. I'm good with where I'm at. I'm happy with what I make. I'm happy. When I have more time, I'll put more time in. We have conversation AI, which is very helpful. But when we can't get revenue, then what good is it? I mean, it's something that you have to determine for yourself. If it's not worth it to you, then it's not worth it to you. If it is worth it to you, then it is worth it to you. I would use the conversational AI to say, hey, how can I make money off this here internet? If you need to make money off of it, because it's the thing is, I mean, how do you get exposure? How you get exposure is consistency. Slowly build. I mean, if my channel got demonetized, it wouldn't be that big of a deal to me because I don't make that much money off of ad revenue. I make it off of super chats, gifting, and merchandise sales. He should get a mohawk. I had a mohawk. What up, Space Cow? He should grow baldness. Conversational AI says you have to get sponsors. New sponsors don't seem interested in quality content. They want to say that give them the slop. Give them the slop. If that's what you want to do, if your conversational AI is telling you sponsors want slop, I think you have a different idea of what slop is. Is there such thing as a super wolf? Let's find out. Super wolf. There's got to be a cartoon. There's a rapper. No, there you go. It's a cartoon. You can make decent AI content. It just takes technical skills, a fair bit of upfront cost, $1,600 a minute. Yeah, that's the thing. So when people say slop, they mean like they mean like the AI content that like it's a documentary, but it's complete fiction. But it'll use real people and places and whatnot, but it just invents the story, and it can be like completely wrong about history. That's slop. It has nothing to do with like the truth or documentarianism. But if I was thinking, if you're going to do that, just write a story and then have something that people can invest in emotionally. Yeah, it's so expensive to do that. That's why you have people that have access to very cheap AI, like Chinese AI, that's very, very inexpensive because they want to flood the market. And they want to get US dollars. So if they invest 14 cents a token rather than $1 a token, they can get much more for that. And then if they can get it posted on YouTube and make money off that, they're going to make US dollars off of that, which is, they're spending much less than we would spend here in America. To bring it back, the dire wolf. Yeah. Well, that was kind of a scam too. So they basically turned on some genetics that made the hair and stuff look like it, but it's not the DNA. It's parts of chromosomes activated to make it look like the dire wolf, but it's not the dire wolf. Yeah, they just wanted a bunch of money by making something look like that. They got a bunch of investment, and then they couldn't turn it out. What do you think about all the fraud dinosaur studies? When I was a kid, the brontosaurus was totally a thing, but now the evidence fake. Yeah, a lot of it's fake because you can't prove it. They find like one bone or like 6 bones, and then they invent the rest of the entire skeleton and say, this is what we think it looked like. I mean, and then you set up a big fake fiberglass skeleton in a museum that costs $10 each to get into, and you have artists, you know, and you make a shitload of money off of. The truth doesn't matter. When Richard was promised monetization 3,000 years ago. What up, B2B? I do, Space Cow. Do you even notice the difference between a regular wolf and a dire wolf unless you were a canon expert? Yeah, I mean, more hair is the only thing I knew. There's a video of a massive wolf lunging out from behind some trees. It looks crazy, but I don't know if it's real. We could probably get some real stuff. What up, Papa Bear? I did a few Bigfoot videos with Vivo 3, and it costs $55 a minute for a shitty slop vid. You could do one for $5 in a minute. A liger is a thing. Yeah, a liger is a thing. Ligers are things. Yeah. Yeah, here's a liger right here. Ligers are lion-tiger mixes. How many generations were completely useless? Most, I imagine. I guess it all depends what like useless. I mean, probably I guess in comparison, like not like the greatest generation where you had people giving up their lives for the freedoms, for our freedoms and stuff. I mean, I guess it all depends on what metrics you use. Napoleon Dynamite's favorite animal, the liger. That's right. That's right. All right, let's find something interesting. Look here. Talking about, okay, I was wondering if that's what you were talking about. Yeah. Well, you know, and one of the things now is they're still putting like hundreds of millions of dollars into going from generation to generation to generation up, and they're not really getting anything better out of it. Like, especially when it comes to generation, like image generation and whatnot. Like, it's not like 3 or 4 years ago, you still had people that looked like it was actually the like dead people, like Michael Jackson and stuff, stealing people's McNuggets or whatnot, you know? Like, that looked pretty freaking real. Place blue-eyed eyes. If you go tribal people that live off of nature, they work 10 or 15 hours a week and rest chill out the rest of the time. Yeah, that'd be nice. Too bad socialist lost in Wisconsin. I wanted to see her eliminate Thanksgiving. Yeah, it's crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff what these people are trying to get into. All right, where are we at? 9 o'clock. All right, I uploaded my attempts at 1 out of 4 generations or satisfactory. Only 1 out of 4 generations. Interesting. No one talks about cockroaches, but they're 300 million years older than dinosaurs. Asexual. Listen, there's a lot of things that you can get into to make it like that these timelines and stuff don't make sense. And like, if you want to sell a book, if you want to sell a book on cockroaches and you say that they're 100 million years old, no one can prove you wrong. Because, well, their skeletons, their exoskeletons wouldn't have lasted in fossilization, so they're freaking 700 billion years old. They were actually flying through space before the Earth was a freaking thing, and then they landed here. Really? And you start teaching kids that don't know any better, and then those kids become adults, and those adults believe that stuff that they learned as kids. We don't know. We got no clue. But is it possible? Let's see if we can find cockroach fossils. Cockroach fossils. I've used generative AI like for like 2 YouTube shorts, like when it first came out, and they said, hey, generative AI is now available. I said, make a popsicle that feeds itself to you, and it made a popsicle that was made out of a snake, so like it would just crawl out of your mouth. It's still posted. Yeah, it's the only time I've ever used generative AI. And do you think anything from prehistoric times lives at the bottom of the sea? So the bottom of the sea is a very good place for preservation of things, because the water pressure and even the bottom of very big lakes, you still have people still in their clothes that apparently they still look like recent dead. They died back in like the 50s. So yeah, there's probably is. Okay, this says 300 million years. Cockroach fossils, history spanning over 300 million years. Rochoids, perfectly preserved and trapped in amber. Carnivorous fossil tribes, roaches, fossils, Ohio. Fossil beds in Ohio. There you go. True cockroaches, this and that, yada yada. 10 to 40 specimens preserved from Myanmar and Baltic regions by nearly identical to today's insects. There you go. The horseshoe crab. Yeah, I used to catch them in Maryland at the Ocean City Beach. Yeah, cockroaches are proved that evolution does not exist. Right, they're not evolving. Right, that's one of the interesting things it says here. They're identical to today's insects, and you would think that they are they the perfect animal for the planet? So that like when they evolved into being cockroaches, they just stayed that way for hundreds of millions of years. Yeah, things just don't, man. Yeah. Kelvin, I found a fossilized clam at the top of the mountain in Arkansas. There you go. Get you one. What am I doing here? Okay. Here we go at the bottom of the ocean again. Yeah. All right. Let's see.
How to know if white cock or black cock is right for you. Let's talk about it. It's important to know that both will get the job done, but depending on your needs and what you need to fill, one is definitely better than the other. In my case, I will be choosing the black cock for the front. If you are working with a large gap or hole, you will see that this is going to work beautifully. Now for the back door, my preference is a white cock. As you can see here, the slit that I need to fill is much smaller.
Yeah. There you go, Space Cal. Thanks for the freaking info, brother. When CO2 is abundant in the atmosphere, when O2 was abundant in the atmosphere, when oxygen, yeah, when there was higher oxygen levels. Yeah, so, or both. But yeah, it was big. Like the reason bugs got really big supposedly was because of the huge, the O2 carbon dioxide content and bug size. Let's see. Insect size limited by oxygen in the air. Yeah, oxygen. What the? Yeah, I don't know. Space Cal's a wackadoo, Kelvin. Imagine that video was about caulk. Yes, it was about caulk. Yes. Have you seen the roaches in Texas? They're so big it could fly in Dallas here. But yeah, we've got big ones here too in Atlanta or in Georgia. They're called palmetto bugs. Yeah, they're like 3 inches long. Earth had 31% oxygen compared to 21. Bugs grew to giant sizes. 3-foot wingspans for dragonflies. Breathing limit size, the tube systems in their body because they don't have lungs. All right, now I forgot what I was doing already. It's an intriguing topic, Space Cal. Thank you. Thank you, brother. What was I looking for? No. Dang it. Now you freaking got me off topic. You've been exposed. The ultimate backyard guide to feeding crows.
Want to know what to feed wild crows? Some of the foods might be surprising. I'll show you what they are, where these crows live in North America, and how to serve them
Creep
food.
show. Wow.
First, let's start with where these guys live.
No, dude, I seen it. I seen it. Dude, what a horrible thing to watch as a kid, dude. All coming out of the freaking drains in the shower, creep crawl. Oh God, what a freaking show. Good freaking memory, brother. The crows are actually saying, caw, caw. Canada.
And crows live in your area year-round. But if you live in the red areas, crows only live there during the spring and summer months. They only live in the light blue areas during the winter. Crows only come to my yard in the winter, usually after it snows or during cold temperatures. That is the time of the year that crows stick together, which helps them find food. American crows will eat many types of food, but here are 5 easy items to put out for them. Number 5, fruit. Some crows will eat fruits, such as blueberries, apples, and grapes. Apple seeds contain a small amount of cyanide. Before serving the apple to birds, remember to remove the seeds.
They don't.
If they don't seem interested,
I don't think they do contain cyanide. I think they contain amylase, and when you chew it, when you chew the seed, the saliva reacting with the amylase will release some cyanide. I could be wrong. If you give crows or ravens food treats, they'll reciprocate, start bringing you little gifts. Yeah. We were talking. I don't know if you were in here earlier. We showed the guy that actually taught his he had money on a table and he put treats there, and then he had money in the drawer, and it taught the crow if he put the money in the drawer, he got treats. So the crow would fly around and take tips off of tables in Paris and whatnot and fly them back in. And he had this drawer full of cash of a bunch of different types of currencies. I am not. Yeah, it's cyanide. I am not found in apple seeds.
In your fruit offerings, they might be looking for the next items on this list. Number 4, unsalted sunflower seeds. Most backyard birds love sunflower seeds, and crows are no exception. They will eat the full seed or the type with the shell removed. Number 3, cracked corn. This is not only a common food that many birds like, such as pigeons, grackles, cardinals, and even various sparrows, but also a favorite of crows. Number 2, suet. This can either be in the cake form or nuggets. Peanut-flavored suet is great, but they will also sample other flavors. The number 1 bird feeder food that crows like is unsalted peanuts. These peanuts can be the whole kind or with the shell removed. Crows are large birds and do not easily land or perch on small feeders. Think big. Other birds love this hopper and wire suspended tray feeders, but crows would not even attempt to eat from them. This is a homemade tray feeder that they like to use in the past. The feeder was mounted on a pole and did not have a roof or suspension wires. Another option for tray feeders is to place it on the ground. These small trays are homemade.
What the hell is cracked corn?
Peanuts, sunflower seeds.
No, Jimmy cracked corn, and I don't care. My greatest fear. Yeah, bot flies are rough, dude. I've seen a lot of videos of people bot flies, and listen, a very interesting thing. And I don't know if we've talked about this before on stream. I don't know if you were here or not, Calvin. But if you get a bot fly, you can lay a room temperature steak on like where the bot fly hole is, and when a bot fly comes up to breathe, it'll dig through the steak to come up to get air. Then you can just remove the steak from your body and the bot fly will be in there rather than in your body. But bot fly when I was young, I had a rabbit that stayed outdoors, an outdoor rabbit, and it got bot fly. It was freaking insanity. Cracked corn in the ghetto. It took me this long to get that.
And other mixed nuts. If they don't land on your bird feeders, try placing food on the ground. Food was scattered here in the mulch box underneath the other bird feeders, and the crows helped themselves to a meal. They were comfortable, although they were startled several times by a hungry squirrel that wouldn't leave. Small piles of food were left at the base of these trees for sparrows, but the crows also found them and had a snack. Be careful how much food you put on the ground, as uneaten food could spoil and mold after several days, especially during wet conditions. It can also attract unwanted visitors, such as rodents. You might need to add hot sauce to keep squirrels from gobbling it all up.
Yeah.
Don't be discouraged.
Birds don't have taste buds that can react to spice.
If you see crows arriving in nearby trees and they don't come down to eat at first. They will likely be skittish if they have never eaten at your place. Because the crows in my yard would spook easily, I had to stand behind curtains and use a black foam board to hide myself while I operated the camera to take these videos. Staying out of sight may be necessary until they get used to you. Are you looking to feed crows or
So these are the type of people they don't talk about in the news media. Like they're not talking about, oh, there's a freaking guy in freaking Nebraska feeding the crows and having a good time in his retirement. Everything's no, the government's going to destroy the. I don't know. I think there's a lot more people that think differently than you might think they think. They've already got rid of Aunt Jemima, Uncle Ben. I was also that Cracker Jack would be next, but the seems safe. Cracker Jack, Monsters Inside Me was a disgusting guilty pleasure I used to watch on cable. Yeah, I watched it too. God, what a disgusting freaking show, though. Oh, it's so rough. Yeah, so, and I don't play around. Yeah, I freaking every 3 months. Every 3 months. You don't know what's in you. Does that guy make houses for hummingbirds and films them exclusively? His footage that does. There's a guy. I don't know if that's guy fact guy or not. His name is Backyard Birds Cincinnati. Oh, but did I say Ohio? I think I said Missouri. But yeah, okay, Ohio. Backyard Birds Cincinnati. Yeah, I've got. I actually have 2 outdoor pan tilt zoom cameras that I got for $40. You get 2 for $40. And I put them in my chicken coop, but I didn't have enough Wi-Fi signal out there to get them. It was my idea to have a daily live stream. People could log in 24 hours of and be able to control the like if you type in like exclamation point left, it would turn it left 1 step, exclamation point right, and so people could control it and whatnot. But I set everything up, and then I didn't have the Wi-Fi coverage. I didn't have enough money to buy an extender. Needed some bat houses. Yeah, they're easy to make. Yeah, a little bit of lumber. All right. They've been exposed. 700-watt solar panel. Nature's most mechanical weapon. Mechanical?
This is one of nature's most mechanical designs. An insect with a prehensile face, snatching prey at speeds our eyes can barely perceive. Sharp pincers or big scoopers grab the prey and bring it back to the mouth. It all happens in just milliseconds, and sort of looks like it's from a horror movie. But this is not an alien, it's a dragonfly nymph. Dragonflies are many people's absolute favorite insect because of their near-perfect hunting skill in the skies. But their juvenile form is almost just as formidable underwater. Plus, they spend about 90% of their life in this nymph stage. These juvenile forms do not get enough credit, because their weapon is not just fast, it is a mind-blowingly mechanical apparatus for a living creature. And it allows dragonfly nymphs to dominate freshwater habitats as top predators. This is one of those insects that I'm very glad is tiny. But surprisingly, their other end is extremely mechanical too. So much so that for a long time, researchers considered it to be—
Dragonflies are nice to have around your nice to have around your yard, your flowers and stuff, absolutely.
Unnecessarily complicated. A complicated butthole? Why? We know that they use a hydraulic system for jet propulsion and can move incredibly fast. And we know that they also respirate through this opening. But the reason the butthole valve is so heavily engineered is not what I ever would have guessed. And on top of all of this, the metamorphosis from nymph to dragonfly is like nothing else I have ever seen. It sort of broke my brain. I started writing this video thinking this would be an easy and quick one, but turns out, nope, we're in for a long-ass video about an obscure little insect. So how does their mechanical and hydraulic system work?
I knew a nymph.
How do they use it to move around, breathe?
There's a tarantula that uses frogs to their eggs with insects. There's a tarantula that uses frogs to their eggs with insects after they hatch. Tarantula keeps the frog as a pet. Jeez.
And snatch prey. Why is their butthole so complex? And what about their metamorphosis is so deeply unsettling? The life of a dragonfly begins in its oval-shaped egg, in or near fresh water, since dragonflies are obligately aquatic during their early life stages. Sometimes the eggs can even be quite dazzling.
Yeah. Right. And then we end up in buttholes again. The butthole valve.
Inside the egg, the embryo develops into a tiny larva over the course of several days to several weeks. When ready to hatch, the larva breaks through the egg membrane as a prolarva, a tiny tadpole-like creature. Amazingly, once it emerges from the egg, it starts its first molt immediately, sometimes within seconds, becoming the dangerous predator that is a dragonfly nymph. Now, this...
I don't think dragonflies bite humans. Let's see. They absolutely, they snatch out of the air. They've got very, very fast hands, and they, like, as they swarm in with their freaking 8 wings, they can do all kinds of maneuvering. So they'll, like, come up on the bug and grab it in, and then, but let's see. Do dragonflies bite? Dragonflies technically can bite if caught and handled, but they do not sting and are not venomous and only bite in self-defense. Most species are too small to break human skin, and a rare bite feels like a quick, sharp pinch. Jazzy. Oh, J, sorry. J is into infinity. I've been bitten as a child. Once bitten, twice shy, babe.
Six-legged nymph truly begins its life underwater. There are as many as 7,000 species of dragonfly in the world. So there are, of course, as many different types of nymphs that are all a bit different. But all dragonfly nymphs have large compound eyes that give them excellent vision underwater, along with short, bristle-like antennae for tactile sensing. Developing wing pads are also visible, becoming more prominent.
You tell me how well that works, Bob. Want to see something terrifying? Look like tarantula hawks are terrifying.
As the nymph grows. And of course, there's the extendable prehensile labium, often called the mask. On the thorax, dragonfly nymphs have 3 pairs of segmented legs used for clinging, crawling, or burrowing, depending on their lifestyle. Nymphs will molt many times throughout their life, up to 15 times depending on the species. Each molt allows the nymph to grow and get closer to its adult form. This is a huge number compared to other insects, who often molt just 3 to 4 times before becoming their adult form. The high number for dragonfly nymphs is in part due to their long life. Their nymph stage can last months to several years. Nymphs can be categorized into 4 main types based on how they live and move in their aquatic environment.
Eat, fresh water.
First, there are the claspers.
I wonder if they eat mosquito larvae. Do cicadas bite or sting? I hate this thing. I've never heard of a cicada biting or stinging. I don't think they do either, but I mean, maybe somebody has. They just freak you out when they fly into your hair and stuff. I don't think, I'm sure somebody says they've been bitten by one, but let's see. Cicada bite. Not Peter. Cicada bite. Cicadas do not have jaws or stingers. They cannot bite or sting humans. If you catch a cicada on your skin, it might mistake you for a tree and use its straw-like mouth part to test for sap, causing a brief sharp prick, like Space Cow. I'm talking about taking care of a paralyzed tarantula right now, and they got abandoned by a tarantula hawk. Tarantula hawk. Bam. Look at that freaking stinger, man. Look at these things. Look at them freaking things, man. These are wackadoo. Let's do this. Look at that. No bueno. No bueno.
Those with slender bodies with long legs that allow them to grasp plant stems. There's the sprawlers, those with flattened bodies who hang out on the surface of the sediment. There's the hiders, those with compact and camouflaged bodies that live among leaf litter. And finally, there's the burrowers, those with cylindrical bodies that live underneath the sediment. You'll notice that the burrowers have this extra long tubular abdominal segment, scientifically called tube butts. These tube butts act like a snorkel, but instead of sticking out from the water into the air, they stick out from the mud into the water. And they do this because the rectal gills within the tube butts need to access the water for breathing. All dragonfly nymphs have rectal gills like this.
Either.
They draw fresh oxygenated water in and out in a process called rectal ventilation, aka butt breathing. And amazingly, if the conditions become hypoxic, meaning there's not enough oxygen dissolved in the water, the dragonfly nymphs will stick their anal pyramid above the water's surface and breathe atmospheric oxygen. This is such an underrated superpower. Their butts are full of evolutionary surprises like this, because the same system that pulls water in and out for respiration allows the nymphs to use jet propulsion for rapid escape. They're the only insect known to do this. It works like this. Water is drawn into the rectum the same way as for breathing. Then the anus is sealed. Then, to generate thrust, powerful abdominal muscles contract around the rectal chamber, building up pressure. When the anal valves open, the pressurized water is expelled rapidly, propelling the nymph forward by jet action.
Nice.
This sounds simple enough, but some scientists were perplexed at how complicated the valves seem to be.
What we were really amazed by was the shape of their chamber, and we were really mesmerized by the way they control the most external valve.
This is Chris Rowe, assistant professor at Cornell University in the Department of Biological and Environmental Engineering.
And the reason was not just that it was readily visible, its action, but that initially it felt like it was unnecessarily complicated. Because the valve, the more common one might be the ones that are more sphincter-like, where you have a continuous variation like that. But instead, these had maybe not quite a leaflet, but like this lobes that actually block third of the valve.
What Chris is describing is called a tri-leaflet anal valve. It looks kind of similar to the valves that we have in our hearts.
Anal valve.
When we first looked at it, we thought that's interesting.
We were kids who played on the creek,
seems
surrounded by
overly complicated, and maybe there's a reason for that.
I guess that would be the best area to see a bunch of. It makes sense.
So Chris and his team began to investigate. What could this complicated valve be used for? When they started to look closely, the first thing they noticed completely took them by surprise.
When we finally got the camera set up just right, we saw that for exhalation and inhalation, they independently control these leaflets.
This allows the nymph to control the size and the symmetry of the valve opening. But what does this asymmetry do to the jet coming out?
One of the main effects that we saw was that by creating an asymmetry, so the bottom two are still covered, only lift up the top, we started to see that actually that deflects the jet and controls.
Right, like a Raptor engine, like a Raptor, like an F-30, like a Raptor. It's got it can change its nozzle, it can change its thrust vectoring. That's like the same thing. So they get it from freaking nature, thrust vectoring.
The direction of the jet, and we called it jet vectoring.
So does it affect their trajectory?
Funny enough, for changing direction, they don't use this jet vectoring. At least we haven't seen that.
It turns out when they want to change direction, they just bend their body to direct the jet, while leaving the valve completely open. What the valve asymmetry is actually for is something else, and it's not exactly intuitive. It's only when the nymphs are not moving and only breathing that they deflect the jet.
And we wanted to understand, why would they want to do that?
To find out, Chris and his team visualized the flow of fluid around the valve.
And what was really interesting is that whenever there is a jet that goes into otherwise steady water, it actually accelerates the flow around the jet towards the jet.
Anyway.
It creates a little bit of a suction in the surrounding fluid. And that's usually 90 degrees to the direction of the jet. So if the jet is going this way, you can imagine from the top, bottom, and around it, fluid is accelerated towards that jet.
This is called entrainment, the process by which a turbulent or high-velocity flow draws in surrounding fluid or particles into its own stream.
Now, if you deflect the jet, then what you're doing to the surrounding fluid is in the bottom, as the jet's coming up, fluid is coming this way towards the jet. And what we saw was that when they need to inhale the water, what they do is open the bottom two leaflet and welcomes that jet into their chamber. So it's very interesting to think that when they're exhaling, they're already starting to inhale and accelerate the water around it.
Chris thinks that perhaps there is an energetic advantage, or maybe it provides them with more fresh water, since it could prevent them from breathing in water that they've already exhaled, which would have a lot more CO2.
Yeah, they don't want to smell their own farts.
This is fascinating in its own right, but Chris and his team think this research could have far-ranging implications.
Far-ranging.
And it comes back to that similarity these valves have with human heart valves.
This looks like our heart valve. Many of our heart valves, 3 of them, in fact, has a tri-leaflet valves. But they're not controlled. They just open and close, open and close.
And until now, prosthetic heart valves have been one size fits all. They were all just the same with a symmetrical opening. But this can become a problem.
That jet impinging on the wall of a heart, on the blood vessels, can actually cause different diseases. In fact, if it doesn't hit at certain speed, then that can also be a problem.
If the blood comes out too forcefully, it can be abrasive to the walls of the blood vessels, or even cause blood clots. Normally, to deal with this, heart valve patients have to be put on blood thinners for the rest of their lives. But now there could be a different approach.
What if we can actually make a heart valve like dragonfly larva? So when people need a replacement valve surgery, what if we are able to provide this sort of independent control of the leaflet that tailors to each patient?
These prosthetic valves could direct jets in specific directions that mimic natural blood flow and reduce these complications. That's so cool to think that people will have a piece of dragonfly in their heart.
Yeah.
Or dragonfly butthole, I guess.
Yeah.
Dragonfly butthole in their heart. It's amazing. It's amazing.
This anal jet engine is truly incredible. But at the other end of their body is a tool so specialized it almost betrays what we know about evolution entirely. A weapon so mechanical that it is one of the most impressive examples of evolution I have ever come across. In most insects, the labium is a simple apparatus. It serves as a protective sheath for delicate feeding structures and helps manipulate food, basically like a lower lip. In most insects, the mandibles are the scary part, the part that does the biting and the chewing. But the labium of a dragonfly nymph is much more specialized to a truly insane degree. Their labium is ejectable. It consists of 4 movable elements: the postmentum, the prementum, and 2 labial palps. These palps are sometimes spoon-shaped and sometimes pincer-shaped. Some of the palps can be attached to mentums that are super long, and some are quite short.
Right, talk about
At rest, they fold up and sometimes interlock, creating what is called the mask. What's with the different shapes? The spoon-shaped grabbers allow the nymphs to grab at a large area, allowing them to catch prey that is relatively small compared to their body size. When you think about it, catching a tiny flea with a precise pincer would be hard.
She's a biter.
The spoons also have long setae that form a lattice locking the prey in the labium. And conversely, the pincer-type palps are good for catching larger prey. Certain nymphs can catch and eat prey that is their own size or even larger, including small fish and tadpoles. The nymphs with the long mentums have the obvious advantage of a longer reach. And the ones with the short mentums, those can strike much faster and more efficiently. To catch their prey, nymphs often lie in wait, camouflaged on the bottom of a stream or pond, waiting to ambush prey as it passes by. Once it locks onto its target, the labial mask spreads apart and catapults forward. And when I say catapult, I literally mean catapult, because their mouthparts store and then release energy just like catapults do. There are 2 catapults, the premental catapult and the postmental catapult. The postmental catapult is loaded when one muscle contracts and strains a T-rod. The premental catapult is loaded when another muscle contracts and strains the premental sclerite, which acts like a spring, storing elastic energy until it's released during the strike. Once the nymph is ready to strike, the mouth parts open to prepare for grasping. Then another muscle contracts and unfolds the articulatory plate, which pushes the postmental knob over the premental groove. This triggers the rapid release of the premental catapult. At the same time, the T-rod releases and propels the postmentum forward. All of this is pretty complicated, and that was even the simplified version. And all of this happens in the blink of an eye, between 15 and 40 milliseconds, rivaling some of the fastest movements in the animal kingdom. This strike allows the nymph to capture prey at lightning speed without moving its body, perfect for allowing it to ambush fast-moving prey. And after firing, the labium quickly folds back under the head, relocks, and can be reloaded rapidly.
And that's all done underwater, so it's being pushed through the water. Catch up the labia.
Meaning the nymph can attempt multiple strikes in quick succession.
So weird. They might as
It's
well
so
be
cool
aliens.
that researchers developed a bio-inspired robotic model resembling the morphology of this mouth part. And amazingly, once the palps have snatched the prey, they then help manipulate the food by rotating it or pinning it, almost like hands delivering the food into the chewing mouth parts. This means that the palps don't move only in the forward dimension. They can rotate and spin with great dexterity. And there's one more thing that these nymphs do that brings their mechanical mouth part and their jet propulsion together.
Tell me.
Scientists noticed that during prey capture, certain larvae eject a water jet from their rectal chamber, farting and punching at the same time. What could this be about?
That's what you gotta do.
A hint is revealed by looking at a nymph who doesn't eject a jet stream during capture. It bounces forcefully backwards, a distinct recoil. The jet propulsion during strike then is probably a mechanism to prevent this recoil. Chris cautions that more research needs to be done on this, but if this is true, it's another incredible feat of evolutionary engineering. But the drama of dragonfly nymphs doesn't end with their hunting. Their very transformation into adults is one of the strangest, most grotesque, and most spectacular metamorphoses in the insect world. Most insects that we're familiar with, like butterflies, beetles, wasps, follow a 4-stage life cycle: egg, larva, pupa, and adult. Once the larva reaches full size, it becomes inactive and encloses itself in a protective case.
There you go. Mouth part morphology. Yeah. Not only that, Mr. Chili, not only that, you missed the part about how it's got 4 butthole lips. And it breathes through its butt, and it also farts through its butt as a propulsion, and it has thrust vectoring. You got to engage the core.
A chrysalis or a cocoon. Inside this shelter, the insect enters the pupal stage. And here within this cocoon, a remarkable transformation unfolds. During metamorphosis, the larval tissues essentially liquefy. What's left behind are called imaginal discs, and these discs reorganize the liquefied body into the structures of the adult insect. Within this so-called pupal soup, wings, legs, eyes, and other organs are built anew. I forgot about the rectal gills. Then the adult emerges from the pupal case, expands its wings, and prepares for flight. But dragonfly larvae do this all very differently. They undergo what's called incomplete metamorphosis. Though that's not a great term for it in my opinion, since their transformation is very much complete.
Yeah.
It's just different. Dragonfly larvae do not form a pupa, nor a cocoon or a chrysalis. Instead, the metamorphosis happens entirely within the final, still active larval stage. Even as the larva hunts and avoids predators, the adult body is taking shape within. The first visual hint that this is beginning to happen is the growth of the wings. They remain tightly folded within the larval wing pads, but with each molt the pads become more prominent. By the final instar, they are swollen and conspicuous, an unmistakable indication that the larva has reached full size and is nearly ready to emerge as an adult.
Humble request.
As the nymph prepares to transform, mouth parts also withdraw, so that feeding becomes impossible. Respiration begins to change from aquatic to aerial, And larvae spend a lot of time at the surface, even with their head or abdomen tip out of the water. Then it's time to leave the water entirely. The nymph will crawl out of the water and climb a plant stem or tree trunk. Here, it will rest and dry off and prepare to enter its adult form.
Crazy.
What's about to happen is often called metamorphosis, but that's not the right word for it, because metamorphosis has already taken place. The proper term is eclosion, describing when an adult insect emerges from the pupa, or in this case, its larval skin. The process begins when fluids start to move around the body and the thorax begins to swell. Then a tiny point splits the larval cuticle, which opens up suddenly from the prothorax to the wing bases. The thorax continues to swell and the split extends onto the head. With more swelling and some muscular effort, the entire head and thorax then emerge from the larval's skin. Soon, the adult dragonfly pulls itself completely out of its old skin. The wings unfurl and expand greatly as body fluids are pumped into them, and eventually they move from an upright to open position, where they will stay open for the rest of their lives. The dragonfly is then ready for its maiden flight. Most dragonflies emerge at night, and then in the warm daylight sun, they take off, becoming the top aerial predatory insect the world has ever seen. Dragonfly nymphs are one of those insects that you might look at and not immediately realize just how impressive they are. You've perhaps even seen one while swimming in your local lake and thought it was just some brown bug.
Yeah.
But that's the magic of looking more closely at the world. What seems ordinary can actually be incredible. And in this case, a brown bug can surprisingly be a biological engineering masterpiece. A dragonfly nymph's catapult jaws, mind-blowing metamorphosis, even the way their bodies move through the water using jet propulsion, are all examples of natural design.
Nice butthole. I'm not saying there should be. I'm just wondering why there isn't. There probably is. I'm sure if you went there, they've got plenty for the different caste systems and whatnot, caste levels and whatnot. I'm sure they do. I'm sure of it. I'm not gonna look it up right now, but all right, what you got here, frickin' space cow? All right, let's see.
Can you hold my cock for a second?
Why are you holding his cock?
Frickin' dumbass. You wackadoo ass. All right, let's see. This beautiful slug. Birds can store data. California mayor indicted as California mayor indicted as FBI informant flips and faces 95 years prison time. Uh-oh, what's going on in California? Oh, I guarantee it. Listen, just like how here we've got, you know, like even if you're just a bunch of friends of any category, race, whatever, you know, there's a bunch of derogatory terms, you know, I mean, just like even like whatever, asshole, you know, whatever, yeah, freaking like mama's boy and freaking, I'm just trying to think of some very, okay, anyway, let's see. I don't want to watch a 10-minute report on that. Wow. So she just stole a bunch of money from California. Okay, let's see. Now everything on my freaking feed is animals. $5 toy. I want to be in prison for 95 years too. Yeah, I don't think you really do. I don't even want to be in prison for a freaking year. Not at all. I don't know. Actually, Mike Tyson said it was the best couple years of his life. What happens if you touch pure mercury? Why you can't travel between Hawaiian Islands by boat? I didn't know you couldn't. So disgusting. Oh, sorry. You guys can't see what I'm reading. What, hey, what are you going to plant this season? Vegetables and fruits? Maybe something new? Um, Probably not anything new from what I already grow. Sweet potato, Vidalia, onion, garlic bulb, bok choy, Roma tomatoes, lunchbox jalapenos, um, okra, squash, zucchini, which is squash, um, onions. I mean, not onions. I said onions. Lemons, limes, figs. Various herbs. I'm gonna plant some dong fruit in a couple of gardens to get my dong fruit planted right over there. All right, let's see. Dogs are what? They give dogs Coke at racetracks in America. The dogs are drugged with cocaine. That's freaking so crazy. How to make friends with crows. 1.7 million views. That must be pretty good. Crows are smarter than you think. The alien signal that looked intelligent. Why Irish stone huts survive 14,000 years. Oh, sinkholes caught on camera again. Oh, cool. Strangest extinct creatures ever found. With Austin. WNBA has lost everybody. Overdue collapse of overpriced rocks 9 hours ago. Yeah. Yeah. What happened when the U.S. nuked space declassified? Flies that started killing animals in the U.S. That's probably botfly. Oh, that's disgusting. Wind turbine failures caught on camera. 5 things you didn't know about mourning doves. Student injured in shooting at Warner Robins. That's Atlanta. That's in my area. 1 million volt piano. How ants discovered agriculture. Why evolution makes the same animal 12 times. Yeah, that's why. What up, who's a fail? Hey, Richard, I read that dishwasher soap pods contain chemicals that causes cancer after rinses are enough for residue to harm my body. So that's what depends. That's the depending factor is how well they're rinsed after you use them. Some pods have they dissolve at different areas of the pod dissolve at different temperatures or different times in the cycle. So there could be what's called a rinse, a chemical rinse, so not just a hot water rinse that should get most of that stuff off. But yeah, I looked into using Castile soap, making my own dishwasher detergent also because of that same thing. It's definitely something, especially if you have young kids or plan on having young kids, stuff like that. It's definitely something you want to look into. I mean, it's some wackadoo shit, especially even like the alcohol plastic stuff they use to dissolve in the water. But yeah, I mean, if you use glass primarily, or then I wouldn't think it was that big of a deal, especially with a hot water rinse. But if you're using plastic and stuff like that, I would probably be more worried than others. No other live stream provides as much opportunity for me to practice puns. I'm here to help, brother. I'm here to help. I'm trying to save the world here, brother. I'm trying to save the world. We need to save the world. Get more puns. Virginia County data center power. Okay, this is insane. Elon Musk just saved the UK. Elon Musk just offered to buy England. Forever. What up, XTC? Forever never seems too long until you're grown. Yeah, Andre 3000, brother. FTC public notice. How to drink something she probably shouldn't. What the heck just happened? Now the DSA is saying that the Democrats stole the election from the DSA. And so what? So now the DSA and Trump are gonna gang up when the Save America Act, or do you think that this was just done? A bunch of freaking wackadoos were put in the spotlight for a little while to expose the problem. So wackadoo. Insane biology of a tardigrade. The DOJ is making moves. They just arrested and charged the CFO, the SLPC, SPLC. Yeah, I figured that would happen. Okay, mud skippers feed millions of migrating birds. I meant migrants. Okay, migrating birds. Why Big Pharma wants us sick? Okay. All right, let me just refresh this. This is all whack. The Fifth Symphony, but Bach and Chopin sound better to my ears. You still going on? Are you listening to Outcast? Outcast? What am I doing here? Am I pressing the wrong button again? Okay. So crazy. If a colorblind person takes hallucinogenics, do they see more colors?
All right, first of all, let's start with a quick primer on
wackadoo to wackadoo.
Color blindness from the good people at colorblindawareness.org. Most colorblind people are able to see things as clearly as other people, but they are unable to fully see red, green, or blue light. There are different types of color blindness, and there are extremely rare cases where people are unable to see any color at all. The ability to see colors is entirely due to certain photoreceptors called cones located in your eyeballs. Normal eyes contain 3 distinct kinds of cones that work together to perceive colors. However, in people with color vision deficiency, CVD, usually there is something wrong with one of those different cone types. Either they are faulty or missing. This means you can still see colors.
I tell you what, this video came out 6 minutes ago, and this is a video that he recorded probably 10 years ago, because he ain't this young anymore. You haven't shaved your fellas in a month? I ain't shaved my fellas in freaking 20 years. I don't shave my fellas. Deal with it or don't. Deal with it or get stepping. I gotta keep into my shit.
Diverse, less shades, less colors, definitely less colorful. Interestingly, there is a great deal of crossover in how people affected by protanopia, red light dichromacy, and deuteranopia, green.
Like you could perform them.
Light dichromacy see the world. As such, red-green color blindness is often used as a catch-all term. As a side note, this is
that's freaking talent there. Sorry, not sorry.
By far the most common kind of CVT. So what happens when people suffering from one of these conditions takes hallucinogenic drugs? Well, the rather irritatingly short answer is that it depends. For example, as we've discussed before, even people who are totally blind are able to see things in their dreams so long as they haven't been blind since birth. In a similar fashion, certain blind people are able to experience visual hallucinogenic trips when they take psychedelic drugs. We know this because, among other studies, in 1963, Dr. Alex E. Krill et al. Published a paper, The Effects of a Hallucinogenic Agent in Totally Blind Subjects, in which they gave a group of 24 totally blind people LSD in an attempt to prompt them to experience visual hallucinations of some kind. The experiments, though small in sample size, did show that, as with blind dreaming, such phenomena, hallucinations, occurred only in blind subjects who reported prior visual activity. So that's
Yeah,
blind
play
people,
guitar my whole
but
life,
how
pretty
about
much.
people with
He and
CVD?
Jimmy, had
It
some
seems no
Asperger's,
one has
some
yet
photos,
done
I'll
a
never forget
scientific
that.
study covering this. Without that,
never
what we
get
have to
that
work with to answer this question is...
Yeah, listen, some people that have Asperger's or on the spectrum naturally, I'm talking about not people that have Asperger's and whatnot from or have okay, the point being, yes, people that have those are gifts. Those are gifts. So with most gifts or most things, you have to sacrifice something in order to have that. So it's something in his demeanor that he might lose in order to just be able to speak emotionally or whatever through a guitar with such freaking skill. Scientists now say all life comes from one single ancestor, so much we thought called Luca, the last last common ancestor. Right, but we don't know, and actually they're changing that now. So there's currently studies going on now saying that it doesn't look like there's too much evidence against Darwinian evolution. So they're trying to come up with another plan. So the plan was from the last universal ancestor was last universal common ancestor, LUCA, was that was supposedly a bacteria or a single-celled organism, and then they said that it got a virus. So is the virus is RNA, right? So the RNA already existed. How did the RNA exist, and then the thing with DNA exist that was able to bond together to right? It still doesn't seem to make any sense, especially when you go down to the chemistry. When you try to make RNA in a lab, it's sometimes it's got to be in a very dry, water-free environment, and sometimes or else it will hydrate and it will destroy it. The problem is with RNA, it has when the compounds, the sugars are put together, the ribose, it will dissolve, it will malform and rot. Remember, life goes towards death, not towards life, right? So if you create something that's partial to life, the universe is trying to kill it. Time is trying to kill it, to dissolve it. So if ribose and the backbone of RNA is made, you have 4 hours to complete the operation to get the rest of it put together before it starts to degrade and rot. So scientists say you have billions and billions and billions and billions of years, but you only really have 4 hours when it comes down to the chemistry of it. This is going back to if we were started in a primordial soup. But then also we know that chemistry can't be done in water. So how did that happen? If you hydrate the reactions, the chemical reactions trying to make these sugars, they'll dissolve in the water. So it doesn't seem to work. But they don't, when they're talking, biologists don't talk to chemists, especially when they're putting out these papers, because when the chemists come in and say, how could this have happened? They're like, well, billions and billions of years. It could eventually billions and billions of years. Well, okay, but it doesn't seem like it. It doesn't seem like it. And the chemistry doesn't seem to work, especially it gets wackadoodle. I thought we're bringing a whole new meaning to the starving artist trope. Asperger's isn't a thing anymore. It's considered autism. It's hard to determine where the line is drawn due to the ties to the Nazis. Yeah. I mean, yeah. The British YouTube BBC show. Yeah. I'm very yeah. This is it when he was very young. I just thought it was interesting about can a colorblind person see colors if they take hallucinogenics. I was obsessed with Alex Lomax's films as a kid. Anthropologist rediscovered all the unknown blues musicians. A bipartisan bill just passed the Senate to help counteract counterfeit products, authorizing U.S. Customs Border officials to share suspected counterfeit goods, especially the IP, oh my goodness, I can't remember what IP stands for. Intelligence, IP, intellectual property. And it still doesn't do them.
Unfortunately, anecdotal evidence and a bit of conjecture. We found numerous accounts from supposed CVD individuals during the course of researching this video, the most reputable of which can be found in the Erowid Experience Vaults, dedicated to cataloging the varying responses people had to psychoactive plants and chemicals. In it, they state, there are a handful of case reports of people with color blindness finding that LSD altered their perception of color for the duration of the effects. Now, if, like we were, you're initially a little skeptical of Erowid's legitimacy, we should point out that the website currently has over 100,000 different entries, and that reports submitted take an average of 6 months to be published after they are reviewed for accuracy and credibility. Further, Erowid is pretty extensively referenced in scientific papers, including ones published in extremely reputable medical journals. So that's something, I guess, but here at Today I found out we're still not big fans of anecdotal evidence, but, you know, lacking proper studies done on the subject, it's what we're left to work with. So what did the reviewed submissions on Erowid say? So here are a couple of the most pertinent for your enjoyment.
The Erowid vaults, I haven't heard about that.
I am red-green colorblind. I don't see in black and white, but I cannot distinguish two colors of similar shades, and I miss almost every number.
Right. Who did the greats listen to? Right. What happens when you give psychedelics to a blind person? That's part of what they were talking about here. They have like odd sensory things, but they don't see anything unless they were previously sighted. So people that had that the same with dreaming. If you had sight as a youth and then lose your sight later in life, then you still dream of the things you saw, or include things you saw. You still have dreams. But if you've been blind since birth, you don't have dreams. I mean, you have dreams, but you don't have visual dreams. And he was saying that. I guess we'll go on here.
In the color blindness test with the color dots at the optometrist, eye doctor. Since I have done psychedelics, especially LSD and AMT, colors have become sharper and brighter, and I can more easily distinguish similar shades in bright and pastel colors. But darker colors such as dark blue and purple have become more difficult to distinguish because they seem to morph into each other. I do see all the colors and patterns very vividly when I trip, and it seems I can more easily see them than the people I trip with. Most of the time, I still see stuff after everyone else has come down. I can't tell you if the colors and patterns are the same as people with normal vision because I don't know what normal vision is. Since I have tripped, I visited the optometrist once and got 8 out of 15 numbers right in the color blindness test, when before I would only get 3 at the most. And another. The arrival of dawn heralded the greatest visual experience I could have ever imagined. For the first time in my life, I saw color. I am at the extreme ends of the color blindness scale. Not quite monochrome, but close enough for me to misinterpret all but the most vivid of colors. Yet, under the influence of LSD, my color perceptions began to heighten. At first I put this down to mere visual hallucinations, but steadily I began to notice for the first time a difference in appearance between the leaves of a tree and its bark. Attempting to study this difference was at first difficult due to the fact that the leaves were constantly changing into birds, faces, cakes, kites, etc. Once I had become accustomed to the intensely visual nature of the drug, I started to explore my surroundings in more depth. Until this.
So I heard, and I have no idea if it's true or not, obviously, but I'll say it here. So I heard that sometimes psychoactive or hallucinogenic drugs that cause visual terms can sensitize. So like you can actually see more like UV light better. So the colors that they're seeing isn't their eyes playing a trick on them, but let's see what human eye seeing UV. Human eye UV light. Oops, I can't spell light either. Let's see what it says. Okay. All right. Normally, the human eye cannot see ultraviolet light because the crystalline structure blocks wavelengths before. However, underlying retinal cells technically sensitive to near UV. So if you were under the influence and it makes these things more sensitive, or the perception of the UV light that you can't normally see is then, because it's being chemically altered, is shifted into now visual light, then you would be able to see the UV differences, like how green leaves look black under UV light and whatnot.
point, I had always relied upon the shade of an object to determine its color, placing it into a grouping such as a red, green, brown, blue, purple, pink, orange, yellow, light green, and so on. During my LSD experience, it began to determine between what I can only describe as the
right. Listen, but XTC, listen, there's a big thing. Like a lot of people you talk to today will not even look for women millionaires in the 1800s, black women millionaires in the 1800s. They think that women didn't have rights until the 1960s, and that black people didn't have rights until until so they don't even think to look. They think women didn't have rights, so they didn't have voting rights. But yes, so like there was absolutely very, very famous women in the 1800s and black women in the 1800s that were millionaires at the time and business owners and whatnot. But a lot of people, because they want to be taught that America's the worst place ever. If you ask kids, I would say people under the age of 30 today, they'll say it's not even possible that you're telling the truth. Fair warning, do not do psychological more often than one to deplete your brain of serotonin. Yeah, it could definitely be a problem, right? Especially with MDMA. Seeing more colors, our lights and waves tests for the science, just take some LSD, that's what happens. There you go. I ain't doing that. I heard you. I heard you. I heard you can take it. Yeah, I know people that do, or at least did. Especially in the movies. Yeah, they would have pens. There's like weed vape pens that they would do, and they would do DMT. I already see too much. When I'm sure, man. Probably a good point. Say, 1930s Germany might Jews certain religious people certain conditions that weren't considered to be humans. Yeah, I remember I was on Timothy Leary's website. I followed his website. I remember when he died, and he was talking about like what he took, and like he would document everything that he took. It was like his trip journal and whatnot. Up until he died, I think, of pancreatic cancer.
Use of my color. My inability to be clearer is not due to lack of observation, but due to lack of reference point. Indeed, during one moment of intense elation, I remember giggling wildly, weeping at nature's real beauty, and talking directly to the colors saying, "I can see you, but I don't know what to call you." I decided to calm down a little and begin a serious study of the effects upon my color perception. Therefore, I initiated my friend into my experiments and we began testing with whatever was available. The most bizarre element to these experiments was the need to spend an hour learning all of the colors from scratch. Once I had a
agreed, absolutely, right. All right, and then so there's absolutely going to be the ability. Military will get that technology first, and then we'll get fourth or fifth generation will be considered first generation as it's sold to us. Eventually, the amount of EMF you can perceive will be a matter of settling on their brain computer chip.
Visual reference point, he tested me with various items such as colored pencils, leaves, and magazines. We even attempted an online Ishihara test for color blindness once we'd retired indoors, but this was not successful due to the fact that the dots continually morphed into one another. After several hours, my friend, who has unimpaired color vision, determined that I could indeed see color. It does kind of make you wonder, how do I know the same color blue to you is the same color blue to me? Right. Other anecdotal evidence
I think that's one of the conversations people, when they get stoned for the first few times or whatever, they have these conversations. Oh, the color that I see is blue to you is the same color as you see blues to me. Like, well, what if what you see blue is what I see is yellow, but you learned when you were a kid that this color blue, this thing that's called blue, is blue, but it might look yellow to you, but you wouldn't know the difference. Our eyes literally lack the functionality to perceive frequencies beyond the visible spectrum. Things that never happened for the 500 lives. Did the guy on Star Trek have spectrum vision glasses? Yeah, of course he did. He could do a lot. He could see sound waves and whatnot. A forced reset. What up, TW?
Across has many reporting visual hallucinations, but not in any different colors than they normally see. This is why we brought up the example of some totally blind people being able to experience dreams and hallucinations. In those cases, the blind people were only able to do so because they had an ingrained earlier memory of what colors and shapes actually looked like. Their brains had a reference point. Most people suffering from CVD have no such luxury since the condition is often present from birth. So for many, their minds would be unable to invent, say, green, the same way a person who is completely blind from birth can't conjure up an image of a demonic demonic goat monster playing the saxophone, or other such common visual imagery that we
that's crap. Somebody came up with a product to sell to governments to sell in school. There was also this car that you could drive and you could program in the number of drinks you had. And when you steered or pressed the gas pedal or pressed the brake, there was a delay. So the more drinks you put in, the more seconds the delay was. So if you put in like 6 drinks and you smashed the brake, it would take 6 seconds before the car actually applied the brake and stuff like that. And this was back, I mean, they used to have them in high schools back when you had driver's ed in high schools and whatnot. And like these drunk goggles and stuff like that. Yeah, it's just freaking somebody comes up with a product and convinces the government that he needs to be in schools to save lives. Graham Hancock's on his deathbed, but his life's mission to prove humans have been set before. Yeah, it sucks that he's on his deathbed. He likes messing around with Antarctica, flat world. That explains a lot.
Seeing persuasion are so familiar with, but there are a few anecdotal cases where some, like those preceding, report seeing colors that they couldn't before. It should be noted here, though, that there are people out there who became affected with CVD later in life, even sometimes not actually remembering being able to see certain colors. Shaken baby syndrome, direct damage through the eye, degenerative eye diseases, and side effects from certain medications are just some of the ways that one can have been born with normal color perception and potentially lose it without ever knowing one had it, depending on when the loss occurred. You could even potentially lose it as a child or even a teen, and might not realize this if it happens gradually enough. So it is possible, in at least some of the anecdotal cases where the individual believes they are seeing some color for the first time, that it is because of this, similar to blind individuals who could see when they were born. Their brains have a reference, even if they're not conscious of it. As for being able to identify colors consistently as described...
All right, close enough. Close enough. All right, let's see. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night here. I'm gonna get myself to bed now that we've learned all this. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. I love y'all. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hit the like button on the way out if you haven't. I'll tell you.